Ultimate Universe, the original Ultimate Universe, was an experiment born out of necessity. Marvel needed a big gun to pull it out of the clutches of, well, near bankruptcy and DC's impending dominance over the market space. Enter the Ultimate Universe, a big, bold idea that changed the game not only for Marvel Comics, comics in general, and quite frankly, the landscape of the film universe. That is why we are taking all of August to celebrate the Ultimate Universe on this show with the Ultimate Universe Deep Dive. This is part 2 of the Ultimate Universe Deep Dive, Ultimate Spider-Man and Ultimates Hope versus Nihilism. That is a very deliberately chosen title. We'll explain why in a moment. We have on tap to have this conversation today, of course, the usual suspects. We've got Marco,
Celsius.
Tyler,
I'm hoping he forgets one day.
I'm Sean, and to have the conversation about the Ultimate Universe, we brought on not only someone who works in the comic book industry at a very high level, somebody who is a rising star in this industry. Get on the ground floor now because that rocket is taking off. We have Mr. Gavin Guidry, GG. Gavin, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, man. I'm always excited to jump in and have a little fun.
We're always excited to have you, and I honestly couldn't think of a better time and topic to involve you for, because such a big part of what made the Ultimate Universe special, I think, especially with the two books we're focused on today, is the art and how transformative it was for comics. And you're going to be able to speak to everything, but better than certainly any of us, you'll be able to lend your eye to the artistic pieces that really changed the game.
I mean, only one of the four of us has officially drawn an Ultimate Spider-Man.
That is true. Yeah. I have gotten to do it the one time.
Oh, you did? I thought it was Marco.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
Cool.
That's
two.
Right.
Then two. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Thank you to everybody who is with us, whether you are live or in the future. What's up, Entertain Me? What's up, Zari? Amin, I see you, brother. Chop, Harder Alchemist, my guy. Electrics is here. Harris, what's up, dude? Banksy Main, Hayden, Carter M. Oh, man. Kyle, you guys are out in force already. I love to see it.
My favorite was Nihilist Nico, who commented on the live chat last night at 1 a.m. saying, "I'm here. Are you called?" Because his name is in the title.
That's what's up. Welcome.
He said, "Let's call him the expert."
Carter says, "Got Gavin's Ultimate Spider-Man cover on my wall right now."
Oh,
nice. I've got the original on my wall right now.
He just big dogged you.
Yeah, you didn't have to go. Damn. You went big on big right there. Damn, Gavin.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
So last week, where we left things off, actually, before we get into that, since I have you guys here, I want to reiterate an announcement that we made earlier in the week, because it's important and we're going to need everybody's support. So on Tuesday at 6 p.m., we officially have a time slot. We are going to be sitting down with two legends. We're going to be talking to Robert Kirkman and David Finch for Skin Breakers. So excited. Can't wait. It's going to be phenomenal. We need a groundswell of support. We want to show Skybound. We want to show Robert in particular that this is a great place to come and talk about your book. That way we can continue to do this with people from that ilk. Robert's, I mean, there's no one bigger at Skybound than him. So 6 p.m. on Tuesday.
One of the most prolific and successful creators of the last 30 years in terms of how far he's taken it. It's crazy.
The only added Image partner.
Right. Honorary founder of Image, basically. It's nuts.
And I would say one of the most consistent, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, certainly. Yep. I finally re-listened to the Kirkman Bendis debate.
Yeah.
which was so important to me when I first heard it. And I re-listened to it yesterday, and oh my god, dude, those two are geniuses. I cannot wait to have Robin on the podcast. It's going to be special. So you guys make sure that you show up on Tuesday at 6 p.m. for that conversation. It's going to be huge, and we need as much support as we can get. And I agree with Entertain Me. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. By the way, we are going to, for those of you who missed last week, we had a lot of fun. The same game that we played last week, the GOAT game, we are going to try to play again. And so I'm going to set up the goal here now. If we can hit this goal, we will play the game. It was a ton of fun last week. And we've got Gavin here. So maybe he'll participate as well.
I mean,
I missed last week. What was the deal?
oh, we have to just crap on our favorite creators. And I'm joking. Don't do that.
Okay, I'm prepared for that.
No, it was Marco. So I roll a randomizer. It comes on to one permutation of the four of us. It could be one of us, could be four of us. And we have to then roll another image randomizer, which gives us a random character, and we have to say why they're the greatest of all time. For context, Marco was alone last week, and he had to justify Perpetua from DC Comics being the greatest character of all time.
Easy work.
I mean, I kind of hope it's just Marco again.
We'll see. We'll see how things go.
And of course, any 10 or more super chat is going to trigger a wheel spin. We had a lot of fun with the wheel last week as well, so we'll keep it going. Now, to get into the meat of things, let's talk about the Ultimate Universe. Last week, where we left you, we talked about Ultimate Spider-Man and Ultimate X-Men, two very, very different books in a lot of ways. And they immediately represent the big differences between the architects of this universe, Brian Michael Bendis and Mark Miller. Their minds really built this universe on two different concepts. Bendis, coming from the perspective of, these are books about hope. The Marvel Universe is a place of hope. This is a place where superheroes live and breathe and save the world every day. And you have every reason to believe in them and hope for them and everything else. It's the sort of the same DNA as mainline Marvel. Mark Miller had a very different idea of what he was going to come in and do with the Ultimate Universe. And no one can illuminate that better than Bendis did in this quote here. I love this quote. So he said, quote, "I'm writing about hope. He, Mark Miller, is writing about nihilism. I know he doesn't think he is, but he is. Constantly." That was said in the moment while they were working on these books. That's how Bendis felt in the moment in time. When you hear that, does that ring true to you?
I think so. Specifically comparing Ultimates to Ultimate Spider-Man. Yeah, Ultimate Spider-Man feels very much like they're trying to do a classic Spider-Man again, just modern. Whereas Ultimates very much feels like it's reactionary to the time, post 9/11, in that new version of the world. It was very much a reaction to that, in terms of how it approached the geopolitics and everything. So I think those two in particular, definitely 1-to-1, I would say, more hopeful and definitely more nihilistic.
Yeah, I think it's that hope versus like a cynicism. You can see the kind of insular nature in the Ultimates versus I just feel happy. I feel like happy-go-lucky. We're learning lessons. We're living our life in not necessarily in peace, but not in turmoil. Right? Like you're making your way through life in Ultimate Spider-Man versus you're kind of like trudging and battling against it in the Ultimates.
Well, there's less of an edge, right? Like really messed up things happen in Ultimate Spider-Man. Peter is still Peter Parker, so it's still not like sunshine and rainbows. but like there's way less of this like grimness to it. Whereas Ultimates, I mean, even just down to how they portray certain characters from the jump of like you have your Thor and even the approach of the Thor there is like, okay, well, what if then the angle is if a god showed up here, we wouldn't trust that he was a god. You would think he was insane. So they play with the idea of, well, is Thor actually a god, or is he just like a superhuman that happens to think he's a god? And I think that is a world of difference between that and then how Bendis handled every single person, villain and otherwise, in Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, they're Marvel comics, so I think both writers want to write the world outside your window in a certain way. But Bendis went on for a more idealized version of the world outside our window, and Miller went for what he perceived to be the actual world outside our window. I mean, it does follow his work too. Like Civil War was that as well. Maybe not as much as Ultimates, but you can see how there's like a bit of nihilism to it. There's a bit of throwing the government in there is constant. How they control superheroes, and I think like the Thor of it all was the one that jumped out to me too, because he's one of my favorites in Ultimates. He's kind of portrayed as like, I don't know a better word, and I'm pretty sure Miller would have used the word too, but like a hippie.
Yeah, he's kind of like a granola.
Yeah,
like a modern crunchy.
Crunchy is a good word. Yeah, but like there is that is a realistic take on someone like that. Like he's fighting for the little guy, but he's also fighting for like social justice in the book too. So it's interesting. It's interesting.
Well, it's also a comparison between like let's say main line versus the ultimate line there. You remove some of that wonder. Like a god does not exist, right? That is something that is mythical, that can be in the world of superhero comics, can exist, whereas it feels like in the ultimates that degree of disbelief is hard to come by.
I'm gonna grab a couple of super chats real quick. Entertain me with the 2 spot. Thank you, brothers. Kicks us off with the super chat. Says spin the wheel. Well, we'll spin the wheel for $10 super chats. For sure. Thank you, entertain me. Really appreciate that. Patrick Zay with the 4.99. Thank you all for creating such a beautiful community. Love being present for the streams, and y'all legit make me cry laughing sometimes. Ligma. What's Ligma? Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Come on.
Sean.
It's the university.
So I'm assuming y'all had an eventful Saturday while I was out of town.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think this was Pal's polls 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Saturday's show last week was very eventful. Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
I would encourage everybody to go back and listen to that if you missed it. Yeah, Patrick Zay. Yeah. Congratulations.
Gotcha. Man, what did I do to this podcast?
I'm the guy who, whenever someone does this, that like, I don't even know what this is called.
Sure.
Whenever someone does that, I always look. I never don't look.
I'm gonna get you a Comic-Con and be like, yo, you got a little mustard on your shirt.
Probably
go with the classic route. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's walk back very slightly. Ultimate Fantastic Four launched after Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate X-Men, and it did really well, actually. Fun fact, and I always say you will learn things here that you have never heard before when it comes to these deep dives. And Ultimate Fantastic Four was originally, picture this, it was originally supposed to be co-written by Bendis, Miller, and Grant Morrison. That's insane. Morrison on Fantastic Four in general sounds ridiculous.
They had worked on Fantastic Four, I think, was it Marvel Knights? Briefly?
Sounds right.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
Yep.
That sounds ridiculous. But then pairing it with Bendis and Miller, those three cooking together, I can't even imagine what that would have been. But it did better in sales than Ultimate Spider-Man did. which I've always found to be remarkable.
Hmm.
Ultimate Fantastic Four did very well from a number standpoint.
What year was this, Sean?
So Ultimate Fantastic Four #1 was third on the sales chart in 2003. It was the only Ultimate title that month to crack the top 25.
Oh wow.
Interesting.
That's surprising in hindsight. Yeah.
And the movie doesn't even come out till 2005, so it's not even like that was on the
bump.
yeah.
Yeah. Very, very interesting how some of these books performed, especially paying attention to the performance of Ultimate Spider-Man, which wasn't even in the top 100 at the end of the year 2000, the year that it launched. And for the life of the book, wasn't necessarily the sales juggernaut you would think it was. It just wasn't.
And they had me buying. I was there with bells on all the time. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting. I would not have thought that Fantastic Four. I remember in real time. I remember maybe the first 20 issues being popular, like being suggested as good. Like I remember my shop talking about them fairly regularly, especially because it was within like 15 issues that they did the crossover thing. The reveal of the other universe. Um, it's a spoiler from 20 years ago. The zombies.
Yeah.
I remember that being really popular. But also it was a book that didn't have like a consistent creator. I mean, Ultimate X-Men was all over the place creator wise for the length of the run. But at that point, they had mostly been pretty consistent with, certain people in certain books, except for FF. Kind of bounced around a good bit because this first arc is them, and then the second arc is Alice and Eminem, and then they swapped over again after 6 issues. Whereas Spider-Man went 111, 112 technically with one person. But I remember it being popular, but I would have never thought at all that it was the most popular. Certainly not more than Ultimate Spider-Man.
And even so, like I think the main 616 universe, this would have been during Wade and Marengo's run that
Right.
started towards the tail end of 2002. So maybe people just had Fantastic Four fever at this point, because that's a good run.
It's the first family. I feel like they're so like iconic in the zeitgeist that you would imagine they kind of hit it off. But I think the consistency is what helps the other books. That longevity.
Mm-hmm.
This era is not Spider-Man's era. You can clearly tell, I can tell from looking at the sales figures over the course of these years, that Spider-Man is not as popular. He's just not as popular as the X-Men right now. And arguably, well, not in mainline, but certainly in the Ultimate space, the Fantastic Four were more popular. It's interesting to look at because we consider Amazing and current Ultimate Spider-Man to be the books that keep Marvel's doors open, so to speak. But at this time, they were really not banking on Spider-Man nearly as much as they do today. So it's very interesting to look at that.
Which is also
Well, I mean, I would say, go ahead.
The movies are out.
Well, one's out.
Yeah.
And was insanely popular, but I will say, like, it was two that really blew the doors off the place, and that was still coming because that was 2004. But I always tell people, like, I grew up a Batman, Spider-Man kid, but I grew up a Spider-Man kid when that wasn't as much the thing. Because, like, when you're like a 8-year-old kid running around in the early 90s, all your friends are doing pencils and tinker toys between their knuckles to be Wolverine. Wolverine was by far and wide the most popular character that I remember anybody wanting to be on the playground at all times for a long, long, long time. And then, of course, when I got a little bit older and going to my LCS, the jokes were just that, like, Wolverine must have 25 hours in the day because he's in every goddamn book all the time. So, I do remember the changeover was definitely post the second movie, because I remember all of a sudden, like, even like people that I knew were not like comic book people, and girls that I knew that weren't comic book people at my high school starting to rock like a little Spider-Man backpack and it's like that was not that was not the thing or the case beforehand. But like X-Men and Wolverine definitely were the big ones. And now we just have, what, 9 Spider-Mans to bolster the legacy a little bit up. Do you guys know, is this around the time that anime inspired Fantastic Four cartoon was out, or am I a little early for that? I never watched it.
Ooh, that's a good question. I never watched it. I've seen,
I
like, I
feel
know
like
what
it's
you're talking about.
around here, right?
It very well could be because we're talking about 2002, 2003.
This
So
this says world's greatest heroes.
I don't
That's
not,
remember what it's called.
is it
2000.
No,
that?
that's that.
There's one that's 2006, but then there's another one that's 94.
Okay, so then 2006. So no,
Yeah,
we're
that's
still
the
early.
anime one.
Yeah.
But X-Men Evolution is out, and that should be the
Yes.
thing that's bolstering X-Men, particularly Ultimate.
The other thing, though, when it comes to the X-Men, is this is 90s carryover.
Yeah.
Right.
The X-Men were juggernauts in the 90s, and so
hmm
they just have that bankability that at this particular moment in time, Spider-Man doesn't exactly have. To illuminate that for you as firmly as I possibly can, and obviously we understand that when it comes to numbers, there's more to it than just the number. But Ultimate Spider-Man issue 1, 55K in sales. Even if a book debuted today with 55K in sales,
It'd
that
be
would not,
solid.
yeah, that would be all right. But at this time, that's not a particularly good number. Ultimate X-Men, on the other hand, debuted at over 100,000.
Wow.
So it nearly doubled. And then the Ultimates, which we're about to get into, that debuted at 150,000.
Holy shit.
It was the number one book the year that it was released, which was 2002. It was the number one book across the industry, and it will continue to be a sales juggernaut throughout.
So what were the other Ultimate books doing month to month around that time? Because you
Yeah.
had the other 2 books out already.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ultimate Team Up, Ultimate Spider-Man, and Ultimate X-Men are all doing okay. I had a month in particular that I thought was particularly, let's see if I saved it. All the books are doing all right. And there are some months when you look at that top 10 and half of it is like every Ultimate book is in it.
It's like it is with Absolute right now, where Absolute is
Yes.
just like in the full run.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. That's exactly what the charts look like. In fact, yeah, I have some of that info right here. So 2004 is when the Ultimate books are they're just cooking. They're on fire.
Burning.
Yeah. Ultimate X-Men 6, 7, Ultimate X-Men 6, Ultimate USM 7, Ultimate 6, number 8, Ultimate FF is the number one selling book. That's January of 2004.
Wow.
These books are cooking.
Takes time to boil.
It does. But let's move backwards and let's get into the Ultimates proper. So Brian Hitch and Mark Miller are the team that are put together for this book. Mark Miller was chosen because The Authority was a smash hit for DC. And again, you're not talking about Justice League. You're talking about The Authority. What the fuck is that, right? But it was a big hit. He did a great job with that book. And what it was a completely different approach to superhero team storytelling. It was tapping into the paranoia, the fear, the uncertainty, but also the like hyper violence of the 90s and the lampooning that was popular at the time. What were some of the biggest movies in Hollywood? You're talking about things like Scary Movie, things that are taking what would normally be presented at face value and twisting it. You could go a little bit further back. You could talk about things like The Naked Gun. You could talk about things like
Austin Powers.
Satire.
Did Miller express that The Authority was satire?
Well, I think Miller has expressed in various terms that his books are taking the piss. And he actually explicitly said he never wants, like, if he's doing a book, he's probably not the first person to ever tackle that group. And so he's not writing the definitive version of anything. He's writing the Millerized version of that thing, which is always going to be some form of tongue in cheek.
He's gonna subvert to some degree, but like, yeah, yeah.
It's a deconstruction, it's a subversion. He's coming from that same place, but with a different bend than Alan Moore was coming from when he first entered the DC universe. He was looking at these characters and he's going, this is goofy as shit, but I love it. How can we dive deeper? Look at what
Right.
Watchmen is.
Like, knowing what I know about him and his personality, I can only assume he thought the A comment was probably really funny. Whereas, a lot of the wrong type of people took it purely as like, yeah, that's right. What do you think this A stands for? Because he's definitely a guy that seems to be mostly not serious a lot of the time, in terms of he doesn't take anything too seriously.
And I think that's an important place to start when talking about this book, because Ultimates, the way we talk about Ultimates has definitely changed.
Mhm.
And I think it changed within the first decade. I think it's changed even more 20 years out from its release. But the important thing to understand about this book is that some people, it's the same as Watchmen. Some people looked at it and took it completely straight and said, whoa, this guy is fucking crazy. Mark Miller. This guy's crazy. This guy is a right wing nut. He is a bootlicker. And that is not what the Avengers and the Ultimates are about. But then on the other hand, you have people who read it and said, wow, Mark Miller totally gets it. That is exactly what Captain America should be like in the modern era. This is perfect. The same way people reacted to Cap is the way people reacted to Rorschach. I'm deliberately drawing these parallels because I think they're apt. But where you're supposed to land, where Miller wants you to land, is somewhere in the middle of really realizing that all of this is horseshit. It's all bullshit. The same way that Captain America puts on a costume and salutes George Bush in the book, and that's goofy, and you're supposed to look at it like that, is the same way you're looking at George Bush when that fucking guy threw a shoe at him.
Yeah, right.
Nice.
Yeah, I think a lot of people forget how much he was also kind of a laughing stock, largely, and on the global stage.
Yes.
People were not really taking George Bush super seriously. Um, Certainly not much as a threat. In the same, like, an existential threat in the same way that we have now. But, like, yeah, he was kind of a goofball. But then, like, talking about Cap, like, this is coming out in an era where you even have campaigns to change the name of French fries, because there's just this stupid bloviated Djangoism that is just like dialed up to 11 for a lot of people, that this is tapping into that stream, not necessarily believing in it, but like, it's this was the world that we were in at the time. I mean, how many, like, I remember the Toby Keith songs about, like, turning the Middle East into a parking lot, or about also having, like, just like the kicking ass is the American way or whatever. Like, I hated it all. But, like, this was the world we were in. It was not subtle at all. So the idea that he would then take the older, more conservative character coming into that time, it would only make, like, the less sensitive character coming into that time, it would only make sense that he would be an even more extreme version of that in that world.
Yeah, it takes itself seriously in that lens. I think of like Team America, like
Oh
pure
yeah.
satire, pure like Americanism, but to the nth degree.
And we also got to remember, Miller's not American.
Right.
He's viewing
Sure.
this from the outside as well.
That's great.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right. And a lot of people, in my opinion, they try to critique the Ultimates, but they don't understand the view that you kind of have to be able to look at it from in order to like I read it last night. That A stands for France line. It's to me, I found it funny, but I could also understand I could understand someone not liking it. But if you're viewing it, if you think that Mark Miller is saying, literally fuck France, right? If you think that's the point of view the writer is taking, you're not
Yeah, no. Mark Miller is saying I've met Americans in 2003,
exactly.
and this is the Americans in 2003,
and this is what his Captain America is going to be in 2003.
Yeah.
Right, exactly, which is a completely different thing. Amin Perez with the 10 spot, referring to the Ultimates. Bluesky, writer for Avengers, threatened to quit if it was titled Ultimate Avengers. The Ultimates reads more as a commentary on the world back then than a reinvention. That's interesting because I think it's both. I think it's a direct commentary on the world we were living in, but I also think in order to say that it's not a reinvention, like I think maybe from today's lens, it wouldn't feel that way. But a lot of this stuff was brand new. The idea of the Avengers as a fully government sponsored group that has no, it's not organically built. That's a reinvention from OG Ultimates.
I mean, they radically changed Hawkeye.
Right. Every character, all of them are like the Hulk. That's not the normal Hulk. He's horny, right? Like
and a cannibal.
Yeah, and a cannibal.
You won't like me when I'm horny,
This version of the Hulk is like every repressed feeling that Bruce has, not just anger. Black Widow and Hawkeye, Hank Pym and Janet. It's a full reinvention.
And Hawkeye is essentially a soldier who has been in there too long and almost starts to like it.
Does, yeah.
Yeah. So that's again a very post 9/11 take on things.
Well, the espionage angle is wholly new for him.
Yeah. Exactly.
He's not a circus performer.
Right.
And just I think the naming as well. If Miller's intention is also to be like this hyper Americanism, the Ultimates versus an Ultimate Avengers, right, gives credence to the fact that there's a superiority.
Sure.
Personally, I like Ultimates as a title for this more than I like Ultimate Avengers because they're so different that this is taking the idea of the Avengers, but not what the Avengers are actually about or what they stand for. So in a way, I get where Blueskyk's coming from. Because like the Ultimate Spider-Man book and Ultimate X-Men, regardless of what they change, still have the point of mainline. This doesn't. It's very different.
Right.
Hayden's Hideout with the 10 spot as well, just showing some support. Loving the Ultimate deep dive so far and how the community has gotten behind these events. Shameless plug for the community Ultimate book clubs. Spin that wheel. Thank you so much, Hayden and Amin. Really appreciate you. We are banking 2 wheel spins because of you. Thank you so much. And then it looks like Goku came through with a super chat.
Love Goku.
What's up, bro? I want to see Gavin's rendition of Goku. How about that?
I have a few from back in the gap that are you can find them, I'm sure.
Didn't I see
online.
You do a Piccolo at one point?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to have Dragon Ball Z Prince as the mainstay on my table.
Hell yeah. Damn, I missed that era. I didn't get to see that era.
Oh, and then all of the late 90s to early 2000s. Dragon Ball Z stuff everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Sean, you said I want to see his rendition, but for some reason I thought rather than drawing, which you are an artist, Gavin, I thought he's gonna be like going up to Super Saiyan. I'm like, oh, that'd be interesting to see.
I haven't worked on the graphics yet for that, Marco.
Yeah,
I have to wait for next time Gavin's on.
I was like, oh, okay.
The graphics package for that is still in progress.
Right.
I know I'm not the only person on this podcast who tried to go Super Saiyan.
Oh, dude, come on!
I tried it yesterday.
My AIM username was SSJ2, had SSJ2 in it from 2000, 2001. So,
What was the rest of that, Gavin?
oh, my nickname in junior high, we had like, everybody had nicknames. This is corny as hell. But my friends just called me Epic. So it's just SSJ2 Epic.
Oh, shit. Oh, that's way cooler than what I thought you were going to say.
Well, to this day, even like, it's funny. I talked about that Superman message board that I was on forever ago, Epic. Well, a huge group of us, like 25 of us, finally reconnected on Discord because of the new movie, and it's been really cool. But it's funny because they're the only people in the world nowadays that think of me that way, as opposed to like Gavin.
Do they know who you became?
Yeah, yeah, and I think for a lot of them that particularly is kind of fun. Of like, oh man, that dude, like, because I was 16, so they knew me when I was like a teenager, uh, just daydreaming about it and dodging hurricanes. And now that like especially like that I'm working on JSA and stuff, and that I've done Superman in particular. Yeah, they know. And a lot of them, their first reactions were like, "It's crazy, man." But now we just kind of are down to our normal, regular old BSing about superhero stuff.
Awesome.
I love that for you, dude. That's so cool. That's so cool. Goku with the 20 spot. Thank you so much, Goku. You're a real one. He says, I shouldn't be eating this good on content this early on a Saturday, but you guys are crushing it. Goku, we're here every Saturday at this time. So you could eat this good every single week. Show up. We're here, brother. And then we'll get this last one before we jump back into the chat. Atomic Hound with the 10 spot. Thank you. Love the discussion of superimposing comics to what was happening in the world at the time. That's why I read old comics. It's not just the story, but insight into what was happening in the world. 100%.
Well, and Captain America is often a really good example of that. I mean, even going back to the 70s when going back to the 40s, but going back to the 70s when, they have him bumping up against the president during Nixon's term and retiring. And then, even like when Wade took over with Wade and Garney, they were very much addressing this new 2000s era of America. It just wasn't with the sledgehammer that Miller came with, because Miller was not playing around or being subtle about it. He was coming in and being like, these are these characters. And it's fitting for a book called The Ultimates, right? These are these characters to the extreme of their dynamic characteristics. And Cap is like, he's jingoistic and he's no nonsense. And he's, like, even to the point where he turns off the other teammates for how he responds to things, because he responds to things not just in an old fashioned way, but also just like extreme, like the way that he kicks Hank's ass. So yeah, Cap has always kind of been that character, whether subtle or not.
I wouldn't call anything Mark Miller does subtle.
No.
Yeah.
Deliberate for sure.
Maybe not all the time, but
I think I want to say this now because I think I loved rereading Ultimates.
Mm-hmm.
I was afraid because I read it a couple years ago, maybe. But I was afraid that I would come into this and go, it doesn't hold up. It's not, but I actually think I enjoyed it more now than I maybe ever have before. And I loved this book when I was a kid. It's so fucking good. This is some of the best work Mark Miller has ever done. And he's just one half of it. We're about to talk about Brian Hitch. But the story of this book, it's not like the way people talk about it, you would think that every single page and panel is either a murder, a racist joke, or something like that. And it's not like that. There's there's actually way more depth than I remembered.
They're thinking of Ultimatum.
Well,
and like talking about like the real world context, social commentary of it, even just like addressing Hulk like he's a weapon of mass destruction, and how you have to react to that outside of just the one paranoid general who chases him down in the mainline books. You know, like the him hulking out at the wrong time in the Ultimates is disastrous for people around him.
And it's funny you say that, because I feel like mainline didn't catch up to that concept until after this, because it was in 2004 or 5, I want to say, when the Hulk destroyed Vegas
Mm-hmm.
in mainline. But prior to that, I mean, I haven't read that much Hulk, but prior to that, like, he's a superhero.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
I
But it's
mean,
still under that lens of, the superheroics, the idyllic, the fantastical, right? This is hey, this is grounded. We need to make sure that this is dealt from a lens that, well, actually, this guy's a fucking walking, nuclear explosion.
I still think of him hulking out in the back of that ambulance. Like, as a sequence, a comic sequence is still one of those times where you're like, oh man, that was comics like peak. That's great. What a like fantastic moment in general of just like horror, but also the way it was executed, beat by beat. Killer.
I was also very surprised by, like, how weird, this is a weird word to use for this book, but reserved it is, especially in the early issues. It's really a ramp up. It's
Mm-hmm.
very the first issue is totally dedicated to Captain America and his origin. And then you kind of get into, like, him reaching modern times and seeing the differences of the world, and all his friends are either dead or old. His family, they have problems, and he's waking up in this world that is, like, in stark contrast to the one that he came from. And we're reading now, right now in real life, we're reading Captain America by Chip Zdarsky and Valerio Schiti. And in that book, they're dealing with all this stuff very seriously and all that. But if you go back to when Captain America first came out of the ice in comics, what does he immediately do? He just joins the Avengers. Yay, they got a new team member, and that's that. It's not a deep exploration of how it would feel if you were Captain America. And
No
that's
time to
what,
acclimate.
exactly, that's what Miller tapped into here.
Which I think everyone kind of tackles subsequent to that, even in the films.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes a core to his origin.
I mean, him visiting childhood people
Yeah.
at a much more advanced age comes from this, at least from my memory.
Him and Bucky being childhood friends.
Yeah,
That's something that the MCU takes that, as far as I know, was only done here.
right. Because he meets Bucky at Camp Lee
Yep.
in the or Lehigh in the main continuity.
Right.
And then the whole thing of like he had the love interest, but then Bucky marries the love interest, and they just kind of grieve together and move on without him. Yeah, dealing with that whole thing of you stopping at a point and everything else continuing on without you. I feel like obviously the kernel existed, but in terms of actually exploring it on the psychological angle, definitely comes from here.
Sean, do you think, having read this as recently as you did, do you think the subsequent Ultimate stories past Miller taint Ultimates as a whole, which makes people forget the straight first Ultimates?
I don't think so. I think that people's sensibilities have changed. And I think that it's hard to look at something outside of its historical context. As a world, we just approach things differently. No one would sign off on this book today. I just don't believe it. Hulk horny, I don't think that
So I mean,
that's I don't think that we live in a world where Marvel is this bold. Um, and it would just be over critiqued. I don't think people would be able to look at how we talk about Mark Miller today. Mark Miller he might as well be a pariah in today's world, and I don't think he's telling stories that are that different from this, from a quality standpoint or from a subject matter standpoint. And maybe you could say that he's stuck in the past. I feel like the world is the same.
and I always like thinking about this book, especially when I read current Ultimates, because I think we talked about it. I don't know if it was on the Palace Polls or or a main show. But I think you said they talk to each other. Dennis Camp's Ultimates talks to this Ultimates in a way without directly talking to it. It is a modern take on the world outside your window, and Dennis Camp's doing the same thing, just from a 2025 perspective.
A more culturally sensitive.
Sure, yeah, but
Yeah.
that's what 2025
take,
is.
Just right,
Yeah.
right.
Whereas we were deeply culturally insensitive. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
there's so many the internet and the way that changed the game, people's ability to really learn about other cultures just by typing something into the computer, you know. And you don't have to just listen to what they're saying on television. Think about what the television was telling you in the year 2002. Oh my God.
I mean, South Park making headlines in both generations, though.
Well,
True.
some things don't change.
True. Let's talk about Brian Hitch. Now, Brian Hitch and Miller both worked on The Authority at different times, but Brian Hitch's style, that widescreen approach, making the comic almost feel like a movie in terms of the presentation, was something that I have only ever heard originating, in comics from Hitch. And the opportunity, because they had Hitch, was to be able to, for the first time, present what it would look like almost if you had an Avengers film.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think there's any bit of hyperbole when I say this. Hitch was the absolute perfect artist for this comic book, and he redefined comic books forever.
I think he does not get enough credit for how many substantial changes he fostered, not just in his approach to the comic storytelling, because then we had a long period where that widescreen was becoming way more common everywhere. And we're pulling away from it more now, but it was definitely more common then. But also, like we talked about as a thing that we were going to discuss here, is like the approach to the costuming and the look in the movies and the MCU. Adi Granoff, yes, for Iron Man, but outside of that, it's almost entirely all from Hitch. And I know that he's had his name credited in things, and I'm sure, like some people have internally thanked him, but like he does not get the credit he deserves for being a pioneer in that sense.
It's not
because
enough.
his fingerprints are all over the place.
And
he should be able to retire.
Well, then there'd be no more Red Coat, and I'm enjoying that. So don't do that just yet. But even like that bleeds into the mainline universe eventually too.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, it bleeds into the cartoons because then they
Yeah.
all respond to the movies. So yeah, it's just like wide ranging effect.
And
We talk about certain artists defining certain things, like correct me if I'm wrong, Jose Garcia
Luis Garcia Lopez.
Yes. Defining artist, right? For Superman and many others. Why don't we talk about Hitch?
Well, I mean, Lopez is about like the stylistic approach of the entirety of a line. I think while his influence was impactful, I feel like it's one of those situations where you fall into you're a progenitor, and so the effects are long lasting in the people that follow you. He's like that first stepping stone where a Lopez is, hey, here's a contract, draw what everybody else will now draw.
Right.
Versus-
It's more official.
Right.
Whereas,
It's sanctioned.
Yeah. Whereas the things that come from Hitch are people responding to what he did in their own way. Yeah. I mean, when I think of 2000s comics, in terms of what's different from 90s visually, I mean, Hitch and McNiven are toward the top because the larger, and Miller's a part of both of their two biggest books. And those two tide shifting comics in the more grounded, realistic, gritty approach to storytelling, it's that those two guys are the ones that I think of the most. Because even like on the DC side, I can't think of another artist that kind of hit to that amount to that degree in terms of changing things. Because even like I love Ivan Reis from that era of Green Lantern, but he wasn't really doing anything that was changing things. I guess the closest you would have would be like an Ed Benes, because a lot of people were trying to draw like Ed Benes in that time. But like, I mean, Hitch came in and blew open the doors on storytelling, which is rare because usually with a comic book creator, the comic book artist who comes in and people start to copy them, they're not copying storytelling. They're usually copying, the aesthetics.
And the thing about Hitch's Ultimates is the costume design that always gets me. It's tactical. It's realistic. It's imagining how you can pull this off in real life, and it kind of reminds me of the original X-Men movies with the leather and like how do you translate a team dynamic look to real life with leather costumes, but like the fact that Cap has extra people always complain about too many lines and things are over designed. I think maybe we've strayed a little too far in that direction, especially the MCU movies, but like the MCU movies owe everything to these Hitch designs, whether they realize it or not. Like, sure, it doesn't have to be a direct comparison, but look at the way Hank Pym looks. Like, just the way that the ribbing on his arms for like the leather and all that. That is just that is designed into so many like, oh, how do I make this look realistic? How do I make it look like somebody's
He
really
was
wearing
the first person to give Cap boots, actual boots, combat boots, and a helmet to turn the cowl into a helmet, and then that became the main visual language for MCU Cap.
And that's one of the things that the Ultimate Universe doesn't get enough credit for, is the way that it was able to take a look at the totality of Marvel's history, every character, and say, what if Lee, Ditko, Kirby, all those, OGs, what if they knew that they were going to be able to tell stories for 50, 60 years? These characters were going to exist in perpetuity. How would things be different? How would they approach this differently if they knew how things were going to play out? And you could, say, in the case of Ultimate Spider-Man, tie it all to Norman Osborn so that it's more centralized and these characters aren't just coming from everywhere. In the case of the Ultimates, tie it to the government so that it feels more appropriate for the time and these characters are all centralized. Those things are things that you would go on to see almost immediately in mainline. Almost immediately, the Avengers start to be in bed with S.H.I.E.L.D. That's something Bendis not stole, but you know what I'm saying. Like he took that and ran with it ASAP. The Ultimate Universe did a great job with that. Let's get a couple super chats in here. Chop Harder Alchemist $4.99. Loving the Ultimate Deep Dive #2. Future segment idea. Gavin leads a draw along with the pals, and we all post the results in the Discord. Spin it.
I'll consider it.
Didn't I? So when we did that Journey into Quistery thing years back at this point, there was a drawing challenge on one of them.
There was, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Sean, did you have to draw, or maybe Marco, Liefeld's Cap?
Oh, one of
Someone
us did.
Definitely did.
Yeah.
It
Yes.
may have been me. Yeah, I remember. That's when I got exposed for being a horrific artist.
Well, that's why we're podcasters.
There you go.
Everybody's time comes.
Speaking of which, though, we should reference the fact that Gavin has graciously offered to give away an original piece of Ultimate Spider-Man art, done, of course, by him, by his incredible hands. And so we're going to be able to give that away later on today. So if you want that, which I certainly do, stick around.
Yeah, he made reference to it earlier today. It's on the wall, apparently.
Nope, I'm starting it new.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah,
Live drawing.
a live drawing, a live chat, a live drawing. Blur Jose dropping $9.99 on us, says dropping some gratitude from the future. Make mine the Comics Pals. Thank you so much, Blur. That's really appreciated. I love when you guys reach back from the future to help us somehow, whether it's with words of wisdom, comics bucks, however you do it. Thank you so much. So Ultimates is, again, really a great book. It did a lot for Marvel from a sales standpoint, and I think it led the charge for the Ultimate Universe. When we talk about that universe, we often talk about Spider-Man, but in the moment, Ultimates was what captured the public attention. And the sales tell that story. It is a sales juggernaut throughout its run. And this is in an era where there is a lot of competition. There are a lot of books that are really hot at this time, and Ultimates is one among them. But there's something happening here. Ultimates is a sales juggernaut, but it's teaching people lessons about what the Ultimate Universe is that are very different than the lessons that Ultimate Spider-Man is teaching people. And again, I go back to that quote from Bendis. Brian Michael Bendis said, I'm writing about hope. He's writing about nihilism. I know he doesn't think he is, but he is constantly. I don't know how much I agree with what Bendis said, but media literacy is not something that everybody is capable of. And so whether or not Bendis is correct in his assessment, what people got out of what Miller was writing is a very different thing. And Miller was teaching people with Ultimates and Ultimate X-Men that this is a world in which people are going to die constantly. You're going to see radical shifts in the way that your favorite characters are ultimatized. And a lot of them are going to be darker, more violent interpretations of your faves. Some people really like that. Some people really did not like that. At the time, I think that because of the post 9/11 world we were living in, some people were comfortable with that, but I also think a lot of people were not. There was a lot of unhappiness about the way that Bendis or Miller was approaching these characters. Let's jump forward and let's talk about Ultimate Iron Man.
Okay.
Ultimate Iron Man was something that a lot of people were looking forward to because of the fact that it was written by Orson Scott Card, who is a very, very famous novelist. He wrote
Ender's Game.
Ender's Game. I love that book. I love that book. Good. And the sequels of that and everything else. He's a controversial writer. He notoriously has an anti-LGBT, very deeply homophobic,
it's bad,
point of view, and there was a lot of disappointment with the fact that he was chosen to do these books once people learned about that. So he wrote them 1 and 2, and then it was drawn by Andy Kubert. Now, these books are remembered as being awful. More than people's distaste for Orson Scott Card being a part of the creative team, people remember these books as being dreadfully bad. So much so that they would be retconned out of this is the first to my knowledge, deep retcon in the Ultimate Universe. All of what happens in volume 1 and 2 are retconned as a television show that took place within the universe.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That's hilarious.
I didn't read these.
You're probably lucky.
Which
go ahead.
Which is kind of a bummer because maybe it's a hot take. I love the Iron Man design.
Me too.
I love how chunky it is. I love how different it is. I love how it has multiple colors. This is one of the ones I always wanted to read. I just never got to. Now I'm changing my opinion on that, I think.
I like the costume. It's not terribly popular. Iron Man as a character just has so many amazing costumes. And I don't know if this one, like, it doesn't break the mold, but it's also not like it doesn't feel terribly modern. Um, it's it's a fine costume, I guess. The story doesn't do anybody any favors. It's very, very, very off the wall. It's very strange. And it doesn't feel like it meshes with the Ultimates version of Tony Stark.
All the
Yeah.
one we get presented in Ultimates compared to like what happens.
And this is one of the problems with the Ultimate Universe because there are architects, and those architects are not editors, but they're the writers. And they it feels like they're siloed. They do whatever the fuck they want. And so there are a lot of these moments. Wolverine and Ultimate Team Up feels nothing at all like Ultimate X-Men Wolverine written by Miller, because Miller wrote Ultimate X-Men at the time and Bendis wrote Team Up. When Bendis takes over Ultimate X-Men from Miller, all of the team feels different than when Miller was writing them. Like, to the point where they're not the same character. And that's a big problem that this universe has. There's no consistency between creative teams.
Creative ideas, even like narrative ideas, narrative concepts, which is odd considering how connected mainline can be. It feels almost deliberate that everybody lives in their own bubble.
Yeah.
Isn't like Ultimate Wolverine versus Hulk just its own thing as well?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like even like story, like that's just Hulk, really. It's not the weapon of mass destruction that Ultimate has.
Right.
Well, Hulk appears in Ultimate Team Up as well, and it's nothing at all like this. Nothing at all. And again, like, I think in that case, in the case of Ultimate Hulk and Iron Man, I'm pretty sure they're introducing Ultimate Team Up first. But they don't. There's nothing in common nearly with their portrayals. It's very odd.
Do you know what the objective of Ultimate Team Up was? Because it seems strange, at least from my side, that you would do Ultimate Spider-Man and Ultimate Team Up and use that as a vehicle to introduce new characters as Ultimate versions, but then not stick to it.
Well, the not sticking to it is more to do with the problem that I was just talking about, of different, cooks just not caring about what other people are doing. I think the point of the book was to be able to, have a lot of fun and say, oh shit, here's the ultimate version of so and so. And it was a lot of fun at the time.
I think it's before the Ultimate Universe more or less established itself.
Yeah.
So like they probably went in being like, okay, well, we're gonna have this, this, and this. And then once they really saw what the Ultimate Universe was, that one thing was the one that was kind of out of step.
It feels like a Brave and the Bold kind of, you have the adventures that go on in the background and the stories that happen.
Which is something that, again, we've seen from the big two before, that kind of book. What was different and special about this is how many characters it introduced. And it was fun, but I have to hammer this point. The only reason why the characters change is because Mark Miller wanted to do what Miller wanted to do. And what Miller wanted to do had nothing to do with what Bendis wanted to do. And that created a problem. Now we're going to talk about when the cracks really, really start to form in the Ultimate Universe. And we're going to start with Ultimates 2. Ultimates 2 is a good book. It's 13 issues, just like the original Ultimates. It's got, pathos and thought behind it, just like the original Ultimates. Brian Hitch is still there. He's doing tremendous work, just like the original Ultimates. So what changed? Well, Ultimates 2 released between oh man. Ultimates 2 released between the year 2004, in which it debuted in December at the number 2 slot, not number 1, like Ultimates 1 did, at 146K in sales. not 155K like Ultimates 1 did. It debuted behind New Avengers #1, which debuted at 240K,
Good Lord.
100K more than Ultimates 2.
Oh, hey, one was it 146? You said
Yeah.
still for a sequel for a follow up, not terrible.
It's not the biggest drop off, yeah, but
Yeah.
in comparison to other books coming out, it's not
Right.
a hit.
We're we're in 2004. The war is on. Marvel and DC they're in the trenches. They're firing on all cylinders. At this same time, you have Identity Crisis. You have New Avengers, as I said. Avengers Disassembled just happened. So like these publishers are going band for band.
And this is around the time or right before we start getting exclusives, right? Contracts for creators.
Oh, I mean, exclusive contracts are they've been a thing for years by this point.
Sure. Okay. Maybe I'm used to reading about them more around this time.
Yeah, exclusive contracts are you have to go back to the 80s and 70s to talk about when that came from. But yeah, these companies are going head to head, and Ultimates 2 was meant to be another silo, another bullet in the chamber, and it was. 146K is nothing to sneeze at. The problem is that it released between December of 2004 and May of 2007.
Thanks.
Ultimate delays.
Yeah. And what changed between 2004 and 2007?
Mainline.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Mainline changed dramatically. Mainline now looks a lot like Ultimates.
Civil War was 2006 or 7?
It took place between those years, yeah.
Sure.
The other thing that changed was the United States perspective on the war we were in.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the people who were hawks in 2002 and 2004 had changed their tune by 2007. George Bush was no longer perceived like there was a lot of grace given to the president in 2002 because it's like we're going to war. They attacked us and everything else. We need to rally. But now we've been lied to about weapons of mass destruction. Now we know about a lot of the casualties and the civilian casualties and some of the horrible things that were happening, and the perspective has changed. This book took too long to come out. Not only that, and I should say, some of the reasons are good. Or not good, but like justifiable. Mark Millar was battling Crohn's disease at this time. Marvel also realized that Bendis and Mark Millar were the two juggernauts of comics that they had access to. They didn't have access to Jeff Johns or Mark Waid. So they took them off Ultimates and made them the biggest writers in mainline. So at this same time, Mark Millar's responsible for writing Ultimates, Civil War, Fantastic Four, I think, was just about to kick off. So he's writing a lot of books, to say nothing of Miller World, Kick-Ass.
Mm.
And he has Crohn's disease.
My man is stretched.
Stretched and stressed.
Yeah. Damn.
His scripts were
Comics are easy. I don't want to hear the excuses.
As you have to write and talk on a podcast, or draw and talk on a podcast at the same time.
His scripts were late. Brian Hitch found other work. He went to animation. He was hired as a consultant on the Ultimates animated films that Marvel pushed out. That Marvel's. Yeah.
Which I realize are called Ultimate Avengers.
Yes.
Which is like, all right, is Busek still around?
They're phenomenal, by the way. I watched those so many times.
I remember the first Ultimates one. I had watched Ultimate Avengers before I ever read an Ultimates book. So after watching them, like, why is Hulk gray in the comic? Like, they kept him green in the movie.
Right. Yeah. Those those inconsistencies I didn't understand, but I guess money talks. But he had to find other work. He went and did the Incredible Hulk. I think it's called Ultimate Destruction video game. He was a part of
That
that.
game can rule.
It does. Yeah.
I never played it.
I
But I've
stole
heard
that one
great
from a
things.
Blockbuster.
It was like one of the first games to really manage to run smoothly, where like a lot of the world was destructible, and you can just go around and just feel like the Hulk. That game was awesome.
I've never had so much
PS2.
fun blowing up a gas station.
Yeah, game ruled.
Hell yeah. Pete Collins says, completely unrelated, but I just joined and I can tell Gavin is drawing. Are we going to get a sneak peek at that? Mr. Gidry, somebody's going to win it. And look at, damn, that was fast, dude. Holy crap.
Yo, yours came out so good. Mine's ass, dude.
We
That's
should have
great.
all done it. Oh my God.
Marco, what is that?
Bro, it's black suit, dude.
That is a gray. That's an
I
alien.
I didn't finish the web. That's why you can't tell yet.
That
You can't
looks
tell
like
yet.
me when I was born
That's the
2 months
difference.
premature.
That's what.
Dude, you should have drawn that on paper, bro. We could have given that away.
That Spider-Man is well done, as in the way you cook steaks.
The way I prefer them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got a couple super chats. Kenneth Williams with the 199. Good chats, pals. Keep the train going. Thank you, brother. Really appreciate that. Mad Dog with 199. Just got Marvel Unlimited. Any recommendations? It was $4. Whoa. Well,
Daredevil. Just pick
Jump
one.
on a reading. Check out the reading guides, honestly, because their reading guides are set up really, really nicely.
There's the one I've been using for this. It's like the best of the Ultimate Universe. Where it like highlights specific issues. I think like the Captain America issue where he says the Ultimates issue where he says the France bit. I think like Death of Peter Parker's on there. I think the first Green Goblin's in that list as well. One of the key issues of Ultimatum. That was a fun one.
yeah. Read Ultimates. Read Ultimate Spider-Man. There's a lot. My God, there's a lot of great comics, dude. Read Civil War. Read Ed Brubaker's Cap. I mean, I don't want to overwhelm you, man. Join the Discord. That's my genuine recommendation. Join the Discord. You will get more recommendations than you can know what to do with. We'll help you with reading guides and everything else. A lot of helpful folks on our Discord.
I reread the Aaron and Ribbich era of 4 not that long ago, specifically through the guide, because it's the best way to also get the fill-ins and get the side books and jump into, like, at that point you had Thor and Mighty Thor and Unworthy Thor and all this stuff kind of going on at the same time, and the guides are really set up nicely.
Super Jop with a great comment. Marvel competing with itself. Marvel competing with itself is an underrated reason why the Ultimate Universe died.
Mm-hmm.
No one ever talks about that, but it is 100% true. Because of the success of the Ultimate Universe, Marvel looked at that and said, "Hey, let's do that in mainline." And that I can't stress this enough. It made the Ultimate Universe redundant. They made their own stories redundant because now the edge that the Ultimate Universe had, which was really established by Miller, is living in mainline.
Somewhat established by Miller and Bendis,
Yes, that's 100. It's the same two people.
Yep.
It's the same two people. But in mainline, I feel like because there was more control, Joe Quesada is the editor-in-chief at this time, and yeah, he launched the Ultimate line and he helped shape it, but he's moved on. His focus is mainline. So the Ultimate Universe, Bill Jemas was a big man behind that, but he's been fired. He was fired in 2004 because, amongst other things, Marvel was a piece of shit. Marvel came out and it was dog water. And yeah, he was dropped.
Great book club, right?
Well, he wasn't a comic book guy either. So
right,
if you can get a comic book guy in there.
And we talked a lot about him last week. He did a lot of good. He did some bad. That's how it goes. But Marvel was ready to move on from him, and so they did that. And so the champion of the Ultimate Universe, the man whose baby it was, is gone. He's gone. Joe's not paying attention in the same way that he was before. And so Ultimates 2 takes 3 years to come out to produce 13 issues. Gavin, can you imagine that? 13 issues over 3 years?
If I was Brian, I would have been panicking my ass off, like scrambling to try and figure something out, because like relying on a script to come in and then it not coming in for months and months and months sounds freaking horrible, because you also want to have, like, you want to be there for the book. So you don't want to then take yourself away from it. That's tough. That is a tough spot to be in.
But from a writer standpoint, dude, like from a publication standpoint, what are you doing? Fired.
That's
By the way,
woo.
Oh, I'm adding action lines to mine too. Hold on. Sorry.
Marco, those are called spider sense. Jeez.
Just wait. Just wait.
God.
Gavin is gracious enough to give away that sketch card that he just drew to a lucky listener a little bit later on. It's incredible. That's so cool that you're doing that, dude. The Gavin Guidry giveaway.
I was looking into, just out of curiosity, what Hitch was doing when he was too busy not getting scripts from Miller. He designed the interior of the TARDIS for the relaunch of Doctor Who. He was
so English of him.
Yeah, right? Yeah. And he also did some concept for the Abrams Star Trek movies. So the guy, he was getting work, just wasn't a comic.
Well, I mean, and you know, he's great at that. He's one of those guys that, like, if you're like, yeah, design random spaceships with realistic paneling and stuff like that, that's right in his wheelhouse. I'd kind of love to see him do. Now that I think about it, it would kind of be fun to see him do Legion superheroes, because so much of that is designy. But also, like, I understand if he's like, fuck no, that's so many characters.
But notably, Brian didn't take on any other comics work at this time, and I gotta imagine. I don't know this, but I got to imagine that the relationship, or at least on Brian's part, there was frustration.
I'm sure. I don't know. I can't speak for him. I don't know Brian personally. You know, everybody's going to have their different levels of or temper. But you're literally just like, his money is dependent on getting pages done. And if the one thing he needs to start is just a script, and frankly, they don't take as long. Come on, Mark, what are you doing? Spend a week, knock it out, so I can spend a month and a half drawing this. Speaking from his, because, you know, Brian's not the fastest guy either. So there's definitely part of it is that. But like, I can't imagine. I feel like there would be a level of helplessness that would definitely be frustrating. Thankfully, though, he was able to pivot.
Did they work together after this? I'm trying to think of a Miller Hitch book.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think there are any Miller World books drawn by Hitch from this point. Chat, correct us, but I don't think so. And given how important they were to each other in terms of the creative collaboration in the 2000s, the fact that they never worked together again is potentially telling. I don't know.
Yeah. Hitch came and did some DC stuff in the mid 10s, right? Because he was doing did a little bit of Flash stuff, but he did Hawkman with Bididdy with my boy Robert. Which is actually freaking so good. That, like, man, he hit like a whole new stride with that book. I can't think of anything they've done since.
And the other thing, you know, beyond even money to consider, is that because of the 3-year time span of this book, Brian Hitch isn't in the market.
Mm-hmm.
Miller still is. All, like, his books are still, other books are still coming out. You can still read books by Miller in this 3-year time span. You can only see Brian Hitch's work when a new issue of Ultimates comes out. And so because of that, that's an era where you're not getting Brian Hitch.
and this is around the era that Miller World Miller starts appearing,
Yeah.
like the guy selling all of these creations, and then
Right. Oh, you've got time to go do your thing and bring out all these new stuff that's yours that you own, but you don't
yeah,
have time to come do the paid work that I'm relying on.
yeah. Oh, but he can go to Hollywood and do his movie with Nicolas
Right.
Cage,
And I guarantee you, well, I shouldn't say guarantee. I don't know this for a fact, but to me, Brian Hitch's career was never the same after this. It took going to Ghost Machine to really change the narrative about Brian Hitch, because since I started doing this show, every single time Brian Hitch comes up until Ghost Machine, including Ultimate Invasion, it's, oh, Brian Hitch is lazy. Brian Hitch hasn't evolved. Brian Hitch draws the same character style. All these negative things about Hitch. Brian Hitch takes forever to draw. DV actually says it right here. Hitch has said that this book gave him a professional reputation for not being able to hit deadlines that he had to spend his career disproving. I believe that wholeheartedly. I remember it.
And that's why I think current Hitch is the best Hitch we've had in a long, 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 long time. Like he's just
delivering.
Redcoat is it's no offense to John's, it's a Hitch book for me.
I haven't read it, but I mean, I've seen you guys talk about it and seeing some of the art. It looks pretty different in terms of his approach, which is interesting.
He's using a lot of different. It's cinematic in a different way. He's using the POV, like if there's a lens in the cinematic Brian Hitch. In Redcoat, it's very different. He uses canted angles a lot of angles from the bottom up, or not directly shooting it at someone. It's weird. But
even his hatching and stuff seems different to me. I'm gonna dive in and really give it a look.
Wow, the number of books that he worked on after that, I feel like it took this long to get to. 2004's Ultimates 2. From there, he was on Captain America Reborn, Age of Ultron, Real Heroes, some Detective Comics work, Hawkman, Venom, The Last Days of Lex Luthor, and finally Ghost Machine stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was writing for DC too for a bit. I think that was JLA, right, John? During New 52.
Yeah, Power and Glory, and Justice League. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just crazy. It's weird how arguably the most important person involved in the Ultimate line is Brian Hitch, and yet he's the person who came out of this looking the worst because of the narrative that was created by the media. By the media, I mean websites, blogs, things like that, about why Ultimates 2 was so late. You see a book being delayed, it must be the artist's fault. And Brian Hitch took the brunt of that to the point where it affected his professional career, and that's not fair. He should have come out of that like a god.
Like launched out of a cannon. Yeah. It should have been crazy.
And that's just not what happened.
Shame on his part.
Yeah. Very, very sad for him. But all's well that ends well in his case, because now he's a part owner of his own comic book company. He's very happy with Redcoat, and he's doing some of the best work of his career. And I was lucky enough to get to tell him that at New York Comic Con. He's a great guy and a tremendous artist.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to read the Last Days of Lex Luthor stuff. Kevin Nolan, ironically, said he was going to send me a collected edition, so I was going to wait. But from what I've heard, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's good. It's great stuff. It's great stuff.
He's still knocking it out of the park.
Yeah.
I don't think that Hitch was ever bad. I don't think so.
Do you think another issue with Hitch is that since his books were big right when Marvel was shifting towards mainline, when it was eating its own tail, and then that let people like McNiven, who was working on mainline, take that fire away?
McNiven and Finch, I feel like, kind of, especially with New Avengers and Civil War, kind of blew up into being, you're right, they kind of ended up being the voices of that era.
I think again, at a time where these artists are doing it on that stage, on that level, and realistic art styles are starting to really pop up. JG Jones, someone mentioned in the chat, Finch, McNiven. I feel like Hitch fits in there really well, but again, he's not on the shelf. He's not on the shelf. While everybody is talking about how McNiven is the greatest artist of 2007, Hitch is not even in the picture.
Well, JG's funny too, because was it around the same time that Jeff and Miller were doing Wanted? Wasn't
Yes.
that around the same time?
Yes.
And I mean, that's the same thing of cinematic realism. So I guess in his own way, he deserves a little bit of credit too. He also deserves credit because he's another Louisiana guy, and I love him. He's
He's a good guy.
hilarious. Uh, but yeah, like there was that also. He cast Sam Jackson as a character before Ultimates because he did it in Wonder Woman Hecate. I've been reading comics for a while. Um, but yeah, like when I think about it, Hitch definitely is Ultimates, not Marvel. Like Ultimate line, I don't think of him as being the pinnacle voice of Marvel at the time, the same way that eventually McNiven and Finch would become. And you're right, it's funny because it happened when those books took a turn to be more like the Ultimate books.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, before we get into how things go really bad and why things went really bad,
Ultimates 3.
I do want to take a moment to thank our sponsors, you, the listener, the people who join us over on patreon.com, the members of the Palsverse who make all of this possible. I want to give a special shout out to our Palsverse legends, the Hound of Justice, Atomic Hound, Starcross, Catherine Stars, the Red Spiral, Spiral Storm, Adam and Bernie, the Best Boy, Spear of Judgment, Jace Jumble, Jalen, the Sanguine Sorcerer, Safe Haven, Hayden's Hideout, and Jesse, and entertain me. And I want to give a thank you to Palsverse members, the Night Stalker, Harris Sajinski, Brian Demolished Del Pozo, Kefis the Incorruptible, Momentum Mike Elliott, Dan the Truth Trudeau, Marley Manastorm, Slow Flow Dameron, Christian Uncaged, Always Laughing, The Spear of Justice, Izzy's Issues, The Great Destroyer, Hyper Viper 89, Robert Runback Casherback, Pete the Dreamer Collins, James Just Jamming Jones, Paul Powerhouse Smith, Neon Knight, The Cosmic Avenger, Matthew the Shade, Cosmo, BJ Kicks, The Living Blade, Boss Run Deer, The Grand Alchemist, Chop Order Alchemist, John Barry B, and Doomsday, David Melendez Doria. If you did not hear your name and you're supposed to, you will a little bit later.
Let's go.
I want to go
Man.
back. Go ahead. Sorry, Gavin.
I said it before, but like when I started listening to you guys, that list was significantly shorter.
Yeah.
It's awesome that it's like, I mean, damn near you're gonna have it printed on.
I'll just have to roll
Just give you on
credits at a certain point.
Scroll before long. Yeah.
Word.
Lord have mercy.
And other channels do that, but I feel like it's good to get their names said by us on here. A little more of an intimate.
Eventually, you're gonna have to trade off, and it's gonna have to be like installments because it's just hot damn.
It is installments. I've got another batch to read off later.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Mid credits and end credits.
And the other thing I wanted to say real quick, I want to go back to Hayden. So Hayden's Hideout is dropping a comic book. He is taking the plunge and doing what a lot of us want to do. He's putting his money literally where his mouth is, and he is putting out his first comic called Thalamus. It releases this Wednesday, digitally on Global Comics. Check it out. He's got a link to it in our Discord. I'm going to grab a link to it and put it in the chat right now. We are a community that supports the people within the community. And so we're going to put our efforts behind our boy Hayden and show him love on his first comic book release.
Congratulations, Hayden.
Huge congrats.
Big step, brother. Big step.
The first step is always just putting it out. Output.
Yep.
That's what you need.
Yep. Part 1. Can't get to part 2 without part 1.
Yep.
Atomic Hound with the 10 spot. Just remember, how hot was Ultimate Comics? Well, in 2002, trots out Jim Lee to do Batman to grab heat in sales. But let's hush up about DC for now. I love it. Yeah, no. The industry was competing. This was a competition period. It was fierce.
What I still remember the Wizard magazine uh announcements for the All-Star line and how much it was like, it was so clearly in response
Yeah,
and trying to be their punchback.
yeah. The
Then
Ultimate
deadlines
Universe.
though, man. Then deadlines.
I'm the goddamn Batman is the what does this A stand for DC?
Yeah, it's funny because in tone, that one was definitely the one that was responding to Ultimates.
Yeah.
And I would say that All Star Superman very much feels like a response to Ultimate Spider Man in terms of it keeping a tone that's more true to the character and trying to do like new stuff, but like kind of playing with in the way that Bendis did of like not getting too caught up in existing ideas of a character without also getting caught up with like, well, we need to completely reinvent the wheel.
Exactly. Like Ultimate Spider-Man, someone I think it was a meme earlier in the super chat mentioned how Ultimates feels like a reinvention or doesn't feel like a reinvention. Ultimate Spider-Man to me is the one that doesn't feel like a reinvention. It feels very much like, we talked about it at length last week. Bendis's mission statement was based on what Stan Lee had said, where his biggest disappointment was that he only had 11 pages to tell the origin of Spider-Man in Amazing Fantasy 15. So Bendis said, I'm going to take that and I'm going to decompress it and I'm going to tell his origin over 6 to 7 issues and then go from there.
Well, and then I mean they even touched on the same, not only just similar plot points being repeated, but also similar arcs. I mean, a girlfriend gets thrown off the bridge, even, but it's just a different girlfriend. So it really is like it's a tweaking, but it is more or less a retelling of. It's very much like, well, what if we just did that run of Spider-Man now?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Like it's a remix. And it feels like the concept that Marvel would land on with like a life story where they take these characters' histories at face value and tell it out straight. Ultimate Spider-Man feels like a progenitor of that, in a decompressed style that takes a long form look at the whole history of this character and says, okay, well, what if everything that happened was deliberate from the beginning? I think that's why Ultimate Spider-Man works so well. Bendis is not writing by the seat of his pants. He knows what he's doing. And Bagley is a seasoned Spider-Man artist.
He was my Spider-Man artist twice in my life because I started reading Spider-Man comics with Amazing in the 90s, and he was my guy then. And then when I'm a teenager in the 2000s and this is coming out and it's the one book I'm buying every month, he's the artist on that. So it's, and then he ended up going back again. He is like, my wife is trying to sneak into the office. He's he's like the quintessential modern Spider-Man guy. As much as he might not be everybody's favorite, no one has drawn that character more than him. It's crazy, in fact, how much of his life he spent drawing Spider-Man. We should be so lucky to get to draw Spider-Man half as often, as much as he does. It's actually distracting. I can't remember. Oh yeah, this feels like a work by people who are genuinely also fans of the character.
Yes.
Whereas Ultimates feels like, okay, I get the concepts, but I'm going to go do my own thing now.
And notably with Ultimate X-Men, we said it before, but it bears repeating, he actually had no familiarity outside of the first movie with the X-Men. So, like, you can tell that when you read Ultimate X-Men, but that's what Mark Miller was here and hired to do his own thing. But I think that the war between Bendis and Miller, I don't know how much war there was behind the scenes, but it's definitely playing out in the pages. And If you wonder which side Marvel backed, you only need to look at what they did after Ultimates 2. Mark Miller was removed from the project of Ultimates 3 because, and Hitch 2 for that matter, because Ultimates 2 was such a, it underwhelmed. The sales would wane over the course of the series. Again, it took forever to come out. And Marvel was unhappy with that. So they decided to go a different direction with the third one. And they hired Jeff Loeb to do, and Joe Mad. Joe Mad.
Hell
Which
yeah.
at the time, that was a thing. That was Marvel saying, like, all right, well, we're going to go and we're going to bring in like a hitter.
Yeah.
Because at that time, he hadn't done comics in a while. And like, I was never like a huge Joe Mad guy, but I mean, like, the Joe Mad stands are stands. And for him to kind of come out of retirement more or less and come back to comics, that was a huge thing at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And Loeb was hot at the time, too.
I knew nothing about Joe Mad at that time. But when they showed the first preview images for that book, I couldn't believe that there was a person that did art like that. I was like, oh my God, who is this? And I was so hyped. And Jeff Loeb, like you said, Jeff Loeb in 2007 is one of the guys.
He did Hush, which was DC's answer to try and like combat Marvel's hotness at the time.
And that Batman and Superman run was really popular and quite good. And he was writing a lot of just regular Superman off and on too.
The color series.
Yeah. I mean, Spider-Man Blue to this day is one of my favorite comics.
Yeah. So there's no reason for anybody to think that this is going to be anything other than the bomb.
A banger.
Not that it would bomb, which is what happened. Everything that Mark Miller was trying to do with Ultimates was very deliberate, very within his style, and he was in control of what he was doing. That's why he teases the relationship between Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. But he never crosses the line.
Right. This is what's going to make Miller seem like the most subtle.
Exactly, right. Yeah, exactly. Miller is like fucking Morrison in comparison to what Loeb would go on to do. Loeb took the nihilism that Bendis thinks Miller was writing with, and he makes it canon. It's no longer a lampoon. It's not satire anymore. It's fact. These are who these people are. And Jeff Loeb, as great of a writer as I think he is, this is not his wheelhouse.
No.
Even the Hawkeye of it all, that's the one that jumps out to me. He becomes a killer in Ultimates 3. He starts killing. That's the Madrox stuff, right? The Savage Line?
I believe so.
Yeah. He's just killing people. Sure, Joe Mad draws one of my favorite costumes in comics. I love this version of Ultimate Hawkeye with he's kind of bullseye, really. He even has a bullseye on his forehead.
Got the, yeah.
I dig it. But these characters become the worst versions of themselves.
Well, they lean into it, right? It was meant to be satire. They become parody. That's what happens when you go too far.
Right. They flanderized. Everything. But I mean, it was very much someone who, this is not his voice. And when you adopt someone else's voice, you do lose the nuance because you're not coming from it. You're not coming to it from a genuine place.
Yeah.
Like Miller can straddle the line with a lot of this kind of icky, misogyny, edgelordy bullshit because he comes from it from a genuine place and he can straddle that line without it for most people, going too far, which is that if you come in and then try to be a Miller type and you're not, then you're obviously going to just focus on the bigger aspects of it and you're going to lose the connective tissue. And I mean, like all the way down to, I mean, we're going to talk about it obviously. And I didn't read the issues because I was already out, but like the shit that goes down in Ultimatum, Talk about not subtle is ridiculous.
So, I actually don't want to talk about Ultimatum today
Okay,
because next week
fine.
we're going all the way in, unfortunately, on Ultimatum.
You're saved, Gavin. You don't need to
Because
Yeah.
in
talk about
terms of
that.
having those moments of just like there's no nuance here, man, like the edgelordy bullshit gets dialed up so high, it's ridiculous.
The worst thing I can say about Ultimates 3, I mean, I don't need to say the worst thing, but like it's not fun.
No,
Ultimates 1 and 2, warts and all, are fun books. And even if you cringe at some of the stuff that happens, like I do, you know, it's still fun and funny and engaging and exciting and, revolutionary in a lot of ways. Ultimates 3 isn't fun. And it doesn't have any level of respect for these characters or the world that they're in or you, frankly, as a reader. And it's offensive not because of the subject, but because of the disrespect. One of the first things that happens is there's a sex tape that leaks between Tony Stark and Natasha, Black Widow. Why?
No context. It's just this is
Yeah.
the setting we're dropping you in.
hmm
Wild.
Think about how the first issue of Ultimates 1 is a war story. It's Captain America in the trenches. It's very intense and serious and
hmm
cinematic and everything else. It makes you think. This Ultimates 2 opens with Thor realizing that the Ultimates are actually just government sponsored legal terrorism. And he's like, fuck that. I'm not like these deep thoughts. Ultimates 3, sex tape, incest.
I mean, it starts with Tony Stark in them trenches too.
Well,
Yeah, it forces the issue. I don't think that's a good start to a story. Is you want to have these things happen organically within the context of a story, versus here's the prompt. Now I'm gonna kind of run with that.
Yeah, Marco wants the incest to happen organically.
Well, it would apparently seeded, right? We might have seen
Whoa,
something.
whoa, whoa! Hey now.
but even if they like, okay, fine. Let's say that they are in an incestuous relationship. There is a way to have a conversation about that. That could be interesting. World outside your window, right? People really do that. You find it disgusting. I do too, but it happens. Jeff Loeb didn't approach it in that way. He takes a fucking sledgehammer to the whole thing, and it's just like, yeah, incest. Here you go. No
Right.
one. That's not a conversation.
Because if I remember correctly, with Ultimates, it was never even there was never even word about it. It was just these two feel a little creepy together,
Yeah,
and run with that. It's vibe as opposed to like you know textual.
and to take you one further than that, if you read Ultimate X-Men, which again by Miller, you can see why they're like that.
Mm.
Because Magneto has a very strange relationship with his kids that's based on rivalry.
hmm
They're way too close and reliant on each other and their father. And these two children only have each other because their father's a piece of shit.
It's possessive.
He's possessive. That's why they're so close.
Right.
Jeff Loeb doesn't know or understand that. So he just looks at the way they're portrayed in Ultimates, says, oh, wow, incest, and just runs with that. It's abominable. And the Joe Mad art, as awesome as I find it to be, I don't find it enough to save this book. I don't.
Muscles on muscles, bumps on bumps.
I bought 3 issues maybe at the time, and then I was out.
Do you remember that decision? Be like, yeah, no, this isn't it.
I just remember being like, well, I mean, also like it's so dramatically different in every way, shape, or form. Other than the fact that the characters by name are still there. That it was like, no, I liked what this was, and this is so much not that it wasn't really even a hard decision. It's just like I'm not enjoying this. Even at the time when these books were 250, I was 15. I was barely like I had like $10 a week. Like I wasn't going to be, doing this. So it was pretty easy for me to drop. But yeah, I remember just like I'll give this a shot, and because I wasn't even a huge Joe Mad fan, so I went in like, okay, well, I can get used to the art being different, but like everything just it's so much not what they established at the time that it was kind of wild. It might as well have not even had the ultimate title because it just is not the same book. Period.
It's hard for me to even understand how Marvel thought Ultimates 2 was enough to require a shakeup, and then this was good. Like this was a better sequel. I don't know.
Well, I
Did
think
this at least come out
there's
on
a
time?
certain amount.
Yeah,
Right. Well, there's that, but there's also a certain amount of like sunk cost fallacy, right? Like once you're in it, you're in it.
sure. Yeah. You're not gonna turn your back on it once it's happening.
Yeah.
I had to get approved. Like,
Yeah. That's my thing is that it got approved in the
Right.
first place, but I to be really honest, I find myself puzzled often at what gets approved at the big two.
yeah, and what doesn't?
Well, on paper, it looked good, right?
I guess,
And then
but
once
if you
you got the
receive
scripts already in, we're like, well, we
Well,
already
if you-
solicited it, you know?
if you receive a script that says Scarlet Witch and Iron Man have a sex tape, and that's the first page, you could go if you're Tom Brevoort, you could go, what are we doing here?
Hey, can we
Yeah,
punch
yeah.
this up a bit?
Yeah,
Just trust
exactly.
me. Just trust me.
It's one night in Stark Tower. Jeez.
We got a couple super chats to hit on here. Common sense with the 4.99. Marvel should have hired Craig Kyle instead of depressed Jeff Loeb. Remember, Craig Kyle is co-writer of Ultimate Avenger, the adaptation of Ultimate. I don't know if I've read that. I don't know what you're talking about there.
Is
Common
he
sense.
saying,
Can you elaborate?
saying Ultimate Avengers as in the movie? The adaptation?
He might be. I don't know. Thank you though, Common Sense. And if you elaborate, we'll read it. Mike critiques with the 5 spot. His first, or no, never mind. Do you think the Ultimate Universe was negatively affected by Ultimates not being ongoing? It's a good question.
Where Spider-Man was.
I just looked up Craig Kyle. It's the Ultimate Avengers, the movie Ultimate Avengers 2. So
Okay.
yeah,
Oh, he did a tremendous job with those then. I did not know those were written by Craig Kyle. That's awesome.
writer and producer, executive producer.
Who did
Yeah.
comics as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Craig
yeah.
Kyle, Christopher Yost.
Yeah. Oh yeah, those two, yeah.
Mhm.
I do think the not being ongoing is a problem. I mean, think about it for the delays with Ultimates 2. An ongoing cannot allow that. The fact that it was a mini probably justified them to just let it do its thing and let it come out when it comes out. Plus, with an ongoing, you get to live those characters more. And I think that's why Ultimate Spider-Man is praised so much. Sure, the quality of the book is good, but that was people's Spider-Man month to month to month.
Well, in the context of Ultimate Spider-Man and Ultimate FF and X-Men, it is strange that it wasn't ongoing. But in the greater context of the Ultimate Universe in particular, they were dropping minis. Like most of the things that came out were minis.
Yeah. Yep. We haven't talked about a lot of them, but most of the material were minis. There were
Daredevil,
only
Elektra, the Hulk stuff, Vision, all that stuff.
Modern Absolute feels that way.
Mm-hmm.
I think there were only at its height 4 ongoings in the Ultimate Universe.
True ongoings.
Yes. Ultimate Spider-Man, FF, X-Men. I don't even.
Which is
I
kind
can't-
of a remarkable amount of restraint.
Yeah. Yep. It's more restraint than either company has shown currently with Absolute or Ultimate. I don't think that they're going crazy, but certainly the lines were not as expansive back then as they are now. But to answer the question, I actually think it was good that Ultimates was not an ongoing because it made it feel like an event. The Ultimate line did not have any events prior to Joe Quesada's decision that they needed a big one. We're going to talk about. That's how we're going to close this subject here in just a moment. But the Ultimate line had no events, so the Ultimates being that made it feel special. That's why the sales of the original Ultimates were so high, in contrast to the other books, which did really well, but weren't necessarily the number one bestseller in the industry, like the Ultimates was. So I think keeping it an annual, like event style thing would have worked if they could have kept it annual.
If they had the timeline for it. Do you have the sales numbers for Ultimates 3?
I don't, because I was wanting to talk about it. I intended to talk about it more next week, but I can definitely get them if you'll read off.
I'm willing to bet number 1 was probably okay.
Yeah, but I imagine a sharp drop off. And then thank you to Ben Loudly for the $10. Says, I was in college at the time, and as hype as I was, I remember having the same feeling about it that I had when attempting to read comics made by the Image founders in the 90s. Cool art, shit plot. Well,
yeah, I was in college when this was coming out too.
I told you guys that Ultimates number 2 was the number 2 bestseller in the month it debuted, which was December of 2007. So that book did really well at launch. Let's see what we have for Ultimates 3. I'm trying to pull that up now.
I have Ultimates 3 number 1 sales.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Do you want to take a guess?
I'm gonna say it debuted at 130K copies sold.
You're almost on the dot. It debuted in December at number 1. So it did hit number 1 with 131K.
Wow.
Right. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Diminishing returns, but still
issue 4 or 6 probably.
Yeah. So by the second issue, it's already number 7 in sales, which is still good. At 104K copies sold, so that's a pretty sizable drop off that you're talking about. Let's look at what it was doing in March of 2008. If a new issue dropped here.
Thank you to ICV2 for having all this data.
Thank you to Comicron. That's the resource that I'm pulling from here. But wow, yeah. It's not a monthly book. I can tell you that right away because it's not listed every single month. Ultimates 3 number 4 was the sixth best-selling book at 95K.
So it's hanging in there.
Okay.
It's hanging in there, but it's not doing what Ultimates 2 or 1 was doing.
Yeah.
So even Ultimates 5 is the 6th best-selling book, 86K copies sold, but you can see that drop off. It dropped 10K.
Sharp.
Yeah, from 4 to 5. So it just continues to drop and drop and drop.
What year is it again? 2008?
2008, yeah.
Okay.
30% drop.
Yeah.
When was Battle Chasers? When was Joe Mad's Battle Chasers? That was
the 90s.
This, right?
Yeah, it was the 90s.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's where he gets his. Okay.
Because he only just came back to it.
Yeah, because he left and started doing games and started his own company and everything and was doing games for a while before he came back.
I think he did some Warcraft stuff too.
This is the same, this is why doing these deep dives is so fun and always throws me for a loop. This is at the exact same fucking time that One More Day is happening.
Mm-hmm.
This is the same time as Red Hulk's debut. Issue 1 of Red Hulk was the number 1 best-selling comic in January of 2008. That's so crazy.
Where was Green Lantern on that list? Because this is when Johns is really expanding.
Sure. Yeah. Green Lantern was the 25th best-selling book in January of 2008. Issue 27, by the way. That's not bad at all.
Mm-mm.
I mean, shit. Batman is 22nd.
This would be following like the Judd Winnick, I would guess.
Judd Winnick.
Oh no, because he would have been like 04 with like Black Mask and introducing Red Skull and stuff like that. I mean Red Hood.
Oh, this is Morrison.
Oh wow, yeah, that is
Yeah.
because Final Crisis.
Mm-hmm. You say Final Crisis, dude? 19, 20, 21, 23, and 24 on this list are all countdown to Final Crisis issues.
Yeah,
So,
time compresses and expands in such weird ways that I like. It's crazy that was 2008.
yeah, man.
But
Yeah.
also, like, talking about events, the Ultimate Universe on having events between the 2002 to 2006, like they weren't popping off nearly as often as they have been once Civil War and Identity Crisis, or I guess that is Identity Crisis is a minor crisis, but Infinite Crisis, like the frequency with which we started getting them ramped up from like 0 to 60 like so fast at that point, because we would still obviously have events, but they weren't like every 18 months there's some catastrophic thing happening in each respective line. And in that mid to late 2000s, it was freaking all the time.
You are absolutely right. Joe Quesada learned a powerful lesson from the success of things like obviously Civil War, Disassembled, all the stuff
House of
DC was
M.
doing, House of M, Secret War. All those books did really well. So let's do it in the Ultimate line. And
Wow.
that, my friends, sorry, go ahead, Marco.
I was just gonna say Batman RIP was 08.
Yeah, oh yeah. I was
So
locked
what was the
fuck in.
top selling DC book at that time?
So the top selling DC book in January of 2008 is not in the top 10.
Yikes.
Wow.
It is Justice League of America number 17, which is the 11th best selling book in the market.
And that is the Ed Benes, Brad Meltzer Justice League, right?
This
Am I remembering that
is this is Bettis, but who's Burnett?
Oh, probably Rich Burnett.
Okay.
I was like, Carol Burnett wrote comics, huh?
But that's that run that Meltzer started when it was like the expanded league uh with Ed Benes. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
he was Benes was like never my type of artist, but like the shit at that time for DC. That was like their go-to guy.
But like at that time, like those sale numbers make sense to me because I was not reading DC at the time. I was a Marvel head through and through.
Dude, this top 10. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. Oh no. Okay, I'm right. I'm right. Yeah, I was January. In January, I'm correct. It's in May that DC launches Final Crisis, and they finally slip in there.
Right.
Number one of Final Crisis was the second best selling title that month.
Which is still kind of wild that a Crisis book does not debut at number 1 for that month.
Want to take a guess? Since we're playing this game, it's so much fun. Do you want to take a guess on what the number 1 selling book was at that time?
It's not Batman RIP is around that time, but it's not going to be Final Crisis.
It's a Marvel book.
Sure.
It's right.
Yeah.
What is going was Secret Invasion at that time?
You nailed it.
Yep.
Secret Invasion issue 2 was the number 1 best-selling book.
I remember those
Two.
covers too, man.
Yeah.
The second issue beat out the first issue of the other one. That's pretty wild.
Of a Crisis, which we haven't had since Identity, which was kind of not really a crisis.
No, right. It's really small.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Infinite Crisis would have been about 3 or 4 years prior. 4 years prior, something like that.
Which was huge.
Yeah. There's a Buffy the Vampire Slayer is in the top 20. I just need to throw that out there.
It was in there in January too. Number 9 was in there.
I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
Number 9 was issue 9 was in the top 10 in January, which is like an issue 9 for a Buffy book.
Crazy, dude.
Keeping Dark Horse afloat at the time.
I'm not saying it's Dark Horse, which I mean, number 9 for a Dark Horse book is great.
Insane. Yeah. That property was very bankable at that time because you're not that far removed from.
And this is around the time that Image is really ascending as a publisher too.
Yep. It's funny because when we did this last week in the 2000s to 2003, they actually were a contender. They had books in the top 10 and 20.
Which is funny because it was like probably the same 4 books.
Yes.
Give or take. Yeah.
It was Spawn. It was JMS had some stuff there that was doing well. But at this point in time, Image is gone from the list.
We have a funny question from Anthony Manzano. Actually, I don't think it was purposely funny. He said, Sean, around this time, did Martian Manhunter have a comic going on for DC? No, quite the opposite.
Yeah, Martian Manhunter was murked.
Yeah.
Right
Issue 1 of
on
Final
side.
Crisis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ben Loudly with the 10th spot. By the way, we reached the goal. We cleared the goal. You guys are amazing. Thank you
Hey.
so much. I was in college at the time, and as hype as I was, I remember having the same feeling about it that I had when attempting to read comics made by the Image founders in the 90s. Cool art, shit plot. I'm assuming he's talking about Ultimates 3.
Yeah. We read that out earlier for that section.
Oh, did we? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
One thing I wanted to ask Gavin is, what is the biggest thing you pull away from Bagley? Like, what is the thing that as you read through, as you have all those books that you're just like, oh, this is what I'm like, not stealing, but you know what I mean, like incorporating, right, ingesting.
This is a technical thing. The thing that I feel like of his work that has mostly translated into mine is anatomy. There's a certain approach to drawing bodies that I feel like, because I was learning from him so much, that has kind of stuck with me. Where even to this day, like there's the way that I draw chest and shoulders, I feel like is very much in Mark's wheelhouse. But we don't really draw. Well, there's probably a little bit in some faces too. Um, but uh, but yeah, like the way that he handles anatomy has been, because I used to draw his Spider-Man all the time, because his Spider-Man in the 90s was like lean brick shithouse. He was small, but there was every muscle was defined, and he was like wiry and solid, while still being like lithe, in a way that, some artists draw Spider-Man kind of bulky and some draw him very, very skinny. Mark was kind of perfectly in the middle.
One of the most fascinating things that I've experienced during this Ultimate Universe look back is that Mark Bagley is the only artist I have noticed who draws Spider-Man in the Ultimate Universe looking like a kid.
Oh yeah.
He's the only one.
Well, and talking about Ultimate Spider-Man 2, and in terms of like the consistency of these books, I think it's really, really important to note that Ultimate Spider-Man was putting out 13 issues a year.
Yeah.
He's
on
fast.
time, 100 issues. Yeah, there was an extra issue a year basically, because he was getting each book done just under a month. It's honestly, it's ridiculous, is what it is.
We'll never see, at least I don't think we'll see this kind of collaboration ever again, where two
No.
creators they go
Yeah.
for over 100 issues, they ship them on time every single month with no delays. That's not realistic.
No. And I mean, and just purely from a publisher standpoint, they just do not handle things the way that they used to in terms of letting people do it. And yeah, Mark was, he was cartooning a lot more at this point. So you did have like really, really big hands and feet. And the proportions aren't realistic, but that's also not the point.
Yeah.
That's what lends to him feeling younger. And I mean, and it's exactly what, he was a little bit more realistic in the proportions, but Eminem, when he came in, Spider-Man is really skinny in Eminem's Ultimate Spider-Man, but it works. And there's always the simple cheat with making Peter look younger in the mask that I learned, and I heard from this, I'm pretty sure it was a Bagley thing. Outside of his physique, is when he's a kid, larger forehead, smaller chin. And when he's an adult, smaller forehead, larger chin, because your face shape changes dramatically.
Wow.
When you're a kid, if you look at a little kid, they have giant freaking heads. They feel proportionate and accurate, but like they have big heads. Because your head does not grow as dramatically as the rest of your body. Overall, the proportions shift though, because they have like a really, really small, like kids the nose to chin is really, really small in a way that the nose to the top of the head is really, really big. And theoretically, for like as an adult, the midline of your head from crown to chin is right here, and your nose should only be an inch or two off. So you're not talking about a dramatic difference. It's basically kind of like just above the brow. It should be around the same for most people. But obviously, like Marco's got a longer face than I have. So, your proportions are not going to be quite the same as everyone else's. But, having like a longer nose versus a shorter nose. But kids generally, the chin and jaw is a lot smaller, whereas that noggin is still pretty big. Right. This is cartooned.
Yeah.
But that looks like a kid, a young man at least.
And we all can tell that. Like everything you just said, I believe to be accurate, but I don't know that. I look at that image and I say that's a kid.
Yeah.
That's the thing about that's the thing about art and what artists understand intuitively, or maybe you learn it about how to express things in a way that's like, well, I can't identify the reasons, but I understand the result.
Mm-hmm.
And no other artist in the Ultimate line understood how to achieve that result. When Spider-Man appears in a one panel sequence in the original Ultimates, it looks the exact same as mainline.
Right.
No difference.
Well, I think that was one of the issues with Ultimates, because I don't think the artists were worried about that. The other artists, Hitch isn't trying to do that with his Ultimates. He has a different objective. But because there's no clear objective across the line, things feel disjointed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, friends, Jeff Loeb was setting up a massive event for Marvel. One that would change the game for the Ultimate Universe forever, but not in a good way. Next week, we talk about Ultimatum.
Boy.
Is this going to be like a pseudo book club at this point?
Well, I'm going to present a lot of facts and history. I don't think a lot of people know why Ultimatum exists, why it happened the way that it did. The personal aspects of Jeff Loeb's life that played into it. There's a lot there.
It's funny we talk about that the same week we're getting David Finch on the show for something else.
But I mean, like, look at that Spider-Man on that cover.
Yeah.
That's a grown-ass man.
Exactly. Yeah. That's not the Ultimate Spider-Man.
The ones on this cover, outside of Hulk, they just look like mainline.
Yeah.
Even Hulk was gray most of the time. Blob is gross. And that's not to denigrate Finch's art. I think Finch's art is iconic on this book. And one of the things I actually really enjoy about this book, for as gross as it is. But sure, there's no real distinctive features.
Well, an Ultimatum is also one of the rare times where the event itself is really, really not regarded well, but a lot of the books around it are regarded extremely well.
Yes.
Like what's happening in Ultimatum with Spider-Man at this time, and this is in the imminent part of the run, and I've waxed poetic at length on this very podcast about my love for that part of the run. One of the best pages in comics history, which Bendis just posted on Threads or Instagram like 3 days ago, the double page spread of Peter in the water coming up. Like that's an iconic thing with J. Jonah in the emptied out office, seeing him save people during the flood is incredibly iconic and great. Just perfect comics, perfect Spider-Man comics at the time that the event itself lasts.
Yeah. Not the best. More like the worst, quite frankly. Next week, we'll be talking about the worst of the Ultimate line and how things dramatically shifted. But yeah, that's the Ultimate Deep Dive Part 2. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. We have a lot more show to get into. Other things we're going to talk about. We hit the goal, so we are going to play the GOAT game. If you enjoyed it last week, we're going to have as much fun as we did last week. If you didn't catch last week, stay tuned because it's a great game. It's a lot of fun. Gavin, you're not just a talking head. You are a celebrated artist. You are a very talented artist. Where are we next going to see your work in the comic sphere?
It should be it actually in about a week or so. It should be solicited. Hopefully, issue 13 of JSA is my first issue, so it'll be out sometime around. I want to say November, probably after New York, unfortunately. But yeah, the book itself should hopefully finally be solicited so we can really discuss kind of what it is.
Yeah.
Because like I've said before, like it's golden age, but there's kind of an angle to it. So I'm ready. I'm working on issue 15 right now. I've actually got the script right here. So like I'm 2 issues in, uh, and being this far ahead sometimes is great. But the other aspect of it is like it stinks kind of like holding on to it, waiting for it to come out. To be able to talk about it. Like there was a whole year or so of my life where I was like, well, I'm working on something for DC. Superman's involved. Can't say what it is. And that's fun, but it's a bummer not being able to really talk about it. So I'm excited to hopefully I believe it should be like around the 17th to the 20th. Usually that's when they put their solicits out every month. It's usually that Friday, whichever one wherever it falls. So I'm hoping that it should be this Friday coming. And I'll be out of con, so
Well, we're all going to throw our support behind that. JSA has been a great book, independent of you. So you coming on, that's going to be crazy. I can't wait for that. And listen, bro, if you could slip in some half gloves for me, man.
Oh my god!
Put it away, Sean.
Just,
Put it away.
just
They didn't have it
in the
back in the
gold
golden age.
golden age, that's gonna be tough.
Yeah. Now their gloves are up by their elbows back then.
Yeah. There's a lot going on.
What are you gonna do?
Well, oven
but
mitts.
I'll keep it in mind for the next thing for sure. The next thing. I actually like. It's funny. I haven't pursued it or anything like that, but man, keep like whenever they keep announcing Absolute books, I'm like, oh, so are they actually like taking pitches? Because I would love to get in there and get involved. But
Who do you? What character do you want to work on in that space?
I would love to do Hawkman, and I've kind of got an angle on what I would want to pitch them in terms of the absolute, the little, because usually they'll have like the one or two things that are just a little fractured to kind of send things off in a different direction. I got an idea, a line on what that would be. I had been thinking about it a couple months ago, and then I stopped. I didn't have an answer for it. Then all of a sudden, when they announced Green Arrow, I was like, no, but what would I do? And then it kind of clicked in my head. So, I might reach out to I might talk to Jeff, honestly, and see if maybe he and I could bug them and see if they would be down. It's tough because Hawkman's in a weird space where Hawk characters are popular, but because of the cartoon having Hawk Girl and then them not doing Hawkman at all in the cartoon, because whenever they finally did Hawkman, he wasn't at all Hawkman. He was a whole different character, Hawkman in look and name only. He could be as popular as Green Arrow in my mind. He just hasn't been given the time or the opportunity, because anytime he shows up in anything, he's always in the 2-piece with Hawk Girl, and 9 times out of 10, he's not giving the story priority. She is, which is fine. It's just, like Green Arrow is as popular as he is because they gave him the chance to be popular, because the Green Arrow that everybody now loves out in transmedia is not at all the Green Arrow of the comics.
That's a good point. We did get Hawkman in the Black Adam movie, but it's not
the closest. Right. And that I would, and that like I've been on record as like Aldous Hodge was my favorite part of that movie. Him and Pierce Brosnan, they were my two. I was like, look, yes. Yeah. The design I don't love. It's a little too red and gold. I feel like they should have mixed in some green, especially because they made the wings gold. But Aldous is like legitimately a very good actor, and legitimately one of those guys that didn't just hit the gym, but is genetically huge, and that's kind of awesome. And he looked great, and he kind of nailed, like they got a little bit of Carter's seriousness, which I like. But yeah, Hawkman himself has never really been given as much of an opportunity to shine. So I know that they're not looking necessarily for Hawkman stuff, but if they'll give me just let me kind of, I've got some ideas with how to handle him in that world and how to work Shaira into it too
I,
in
I
a way that's different.
I think if there's any DC character that can benefit from a streamlined origin story, it's Hawkman.
Right. Losing the baggage,
Yep.
keeping aspects of it. But yeah, I've got an idea.
I always liked him as super Indiana Jones.
I would and I like the archaeologist historian aspect. I feel like that is a key of the character that I wouldn't want to lose. The mainline side, I've got an idea to do a mainline pulpy adventure-y Hawkman book that would be very different from the one that I'm thinking of for. Just let me draw Hawkman. I'll just draw Hawk. I mean, I'm already getting
I want to see it. Yeah.
Except this issue has no Hawks in it.
Fuck.
This one whole issue.
Hawkman was in the issue you did, right? Issue
Yeah,
was it 10?
he was in issue 8.
8. Okay.
And Carter and Shayera are in issues 13 and 14, but with issue 15, especially because we're juggling so many freaking characters, I understand. But yeah, no Hawkman. Unfortunately, for 20 pages, I've just got to deal.
So you're a bigger fan of the archaeology side, not necessarily like the Thanagar, like
Yes,
spacefaring.
I much
Okay.
prefer. But speaking to that Venditti run, Venditti and Hitch run, they did a fantastic job of cleaning a lot of that up. If you've never read those 12, at least the 12 issues, I would read, and I would read up until like issue, I think what's it, 23 or 24. They do I say beautiful because it is like narratively a very, very good way to kind of wrap in all of his mythos in one. And the idea that they start with is that he doesn't just get reincarnated through time, he gets reincarnated through space. And that explains why he could be reincarnated on Thanagar. And there's even a version that's reincarnated on Krypton. Like there's different times that he goes, but the reason for why he's being reincarnated is explained. And it's fucking like, it's one of those things that I read it like 5 years late, and I was so mad at myself for not having read it sooner because it's fantastic.
That's a great run.
And Hitch is on it, for at least the 12 issues.
Lucas Holner with the $4.99. Great work. Take some of my casino winnings, pals. Gavin, keep up the great work. Any chance you're doing a Transformers cover in the future?
I did a Transformers cover for issue 20.
Do you get to pick which Transformers you have on a variant?
Yes and no. It was very much like, well, who do you want? Like I pitched them a couple of ideas.
Yeah.
But it was trying to figure out like, well, if I've only done one Transformers cover, I kind of have to do Optimus,
Sure.
right? Like you. But yeah, I did one cover for issue 20. The thing that's weird about it is that they kept it as a store variant, a web store variant for the publisher. So you can get it from Skybound in black and white, but not on shelves. And they even did a Virgin variant, which is really cool. So I've got a Virgin copy of it too, which I've never had before. So it's kind of fun seeing like just my line art on the cover.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I don't remember seeing a Transformers variant done by you in my LCS. So
yeah, so I just it's on my tables.
Cool.
Whenever I do shows,
Oh.
which I'm doing 14 this year, so I'm definitely around.
is one of them New York Comic Con?
I will be at New York Comic Con, and I'm doing Baltimore the next week, so I'm actually going to stay in the city for 3 extra days.
Wow.
Hang out.
Hey,
Yeah.
maybe we can.
I got
absolutely.
places. I got
I'm
tiki
planning-
bars we can go to.
I'm planning on popping out to Jersey. I'm going to go see Sal and them. I'm going to go visit Kubert School.
Oh.
But Declan Shalvey and I are actually going to do it. He's doing Baltimore 2 for the first time, so we decided to split a room in both cities and just take the train down. That way, the cheaper hotel being split in Baltimore will kind of offset how expensive it is to stay in Manhattan. That way, we could just stay on Manhattan.
Yeah.
But I wanted to venture out because usually when I'm in town for the con, Like I'll go up to Hell's Kitchen, I'll go over to Koreatown, but outside of that, like I maybe go into like Garment District. I don't go very far.
You take the
So
Daredevil
like
route.
right. So like, being able to explore more. I've never even ridden the train, the subway, because it's just
Wow.
like if I'm going across town for an event, usually we would just take an Uber or a taxi.
Sure.
So like, but I want to, now that I'm going to have 3 full days, we're going to set up some stuff with people, and like Patrick Willems is a buddy. And it's funny because his mom and Declan's mom are actually from the same small town in Ireland.
That's
So
wild.
I was like, we need to have dinner with Patrick, the three of us, because that would be fun. But yeah, I want to do stuff. So I'm totally down to hang. I'm going to the Nintendo store is my only guaranteed thing that
Hell
I'm
yeah.
doing. Other than that, like depending on how things are going, I wouldn't mind visiting the Marvel offices. I want to cruise around and go do stuff. So by all means, fellas, we could grab lunch or dinner or something.
There's a cool little brewery right next to the Nintendo store, actually. So
Oh,
it's more of a tasting room, but yeah.
yeah. We'll plan it out. Hell
We'll
yeah.
talk. Yeah, we'll talk. We
Cool.
were denied press for New York Comic Con, but we're going to do our best to still be able to attend the event.
I'm
Okay.
working on my disguise right now. I've gotten a couple of security outfits from Javits Center that I'm looking to recreate.
Yeah.
We're pretty cool with security there, so we'll find our way.
Which,
And,
if you need my help that I messaged you about, let me know.
I appreciate
So I've
that.
got
by
at
the
least
way.
one.
Thank you.
and Tyler, I've been practicing my stilts so I can stand on your shoulders, you know?
And we're gonna do the old Little Rascals bit. Cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, Sean can get in, and then Marco can be his robot butler.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
no one
I'm
would
with that.
guess.
Jarvis.
No one would question
I'll
it.
go on all fours. I'll be a seeing eye dog if I need to.
No,
But
no.
you need, just wheel around like one of those little robot carts that deliver food.
Yep.
Hell yeah. There you go. There's a strategy.
And then maybe you can be as tall as Al Ewing if one of us is on your shoulder, Sean, for the Al Ewing interview.
I would love to be as tall. Dude, I would break my knees annually so that my legs could grow longer so I could be as tall as Al Ewing.
I've never met. How big is he? 'Cause I'm like 6'1".
Yeah, he's about as tall as you. I'm 5'8" ish, and yeah, he's about as tall as you.
It's just the
I'd break
booming
my
voice
knees.
adds to it. It's like Galactus in,
Right,
in
right,
casual clothes.
I'd break my knees to be as tall as you, man. Jesus, they didn't build the Bartleys too tall, unfortunately. Kurt Wildshut says, "Oh, for Gavin, will your Kickstarter graphic novel be available to non-backers?" I want to know that because I missed the backing window, but I
Yes.
want that book.
Yes, we'll be hand selling copies. Hopefully this fall. Hopefully by New York we'll be able to hand sell copies. I'm not 100% sure what the dates are. They actually I just signed a whole bunch of book plates, so they sent the book off to the printer Friday, I believe, actually. So we should be fulfilling and hopefully hand selling in the not too distant future.
Awesome. Very happy to hear that. If I can get a copy from you at New York Comic Con, I'll be very pleased.
And I believe Alejandro will be around too. So
Cool.
Sick.
Yeah.
Cool. Atomic Hound says, I really need to make New York Comic Con this year. You really do. I would love to meet you. That would be on my let me see. So I want to meet who haven't I met? I want to meet you. I've met everybody else. I want to meet you, Atomic Hound.
Is it like Morrison? Oh, you've met Morrison before.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I've met
okay.
Morrison, Bendis, Remender. I've met all these people.
So it's Alan Moore and Atomic Hound.
It's
Yeah.
not even Alan Moore. I don't revere him. I revere Atomic Hound.
How Atomic Hound? How far out are you from? Is it like a big trip?
Yeah.
I want to say he's in Wisconsin.
Somewhere middle America.
Wisconsin.
Chop Harder,
Anytime a New Yorker says middle America, it feels like a slur.
Chop Harder Alchemist says, insane that y'all didn't get press passes for New York Comic Con. It is insane, dude. We put our whole asses into New York every year that we do it. Anybody who's ever seen us at Gavin can attest. We always have our fucking, our tripod, our camera set up, everything. We've got t-shirts. We're running around, super busy. And we do that every year to try to put a spotlight on the creators and give you guys some fun stuff that's coming directly from the show. I feel like a lot of other channels aren't necessarily doing that. They're getting press and fucking off. Near Mint Condition is great about doing press. Obviously, Sal and Comic Pop do a great job. BJ did a great job when he was there last year, but a lot of channels don't do that.
It's a lot of the press people that I see, especially at like the junkets and stuff, aren't YouTube.
Yeah.
They're mostly print or print web based,
But they're there like shaking hands, meeting people, like as opposed to doing the on the ground coverage.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So yeah, Houndton, Wisconsin. I'm gonna be in Madison next year. I don't know the dates, but I'm gonna be out his way next year, which I've
Man.
never been. I'm excited. I've never been to Michigan or Wisconsin or anything that part of the country. But the more I do these Midwest shows, actually, the more I really enjoy a lot of them because there are these weirdly. Well, I was in Omaha, Nebraska, last week, and it's funny because it's similar like Oklahoma City. And even like Des Moines, I'm finding that these cities are small, but they're also like a lot cooler than you expect them to be in terms of like having parts of town that have like a lot of cool shit in them. Like Omaha, Nebraska. No offense, anybody, Nebraskans. But like I was not expecting several blocks over, there's a part called oh shit, I can't even think of the name of the town now. But there's a part of the downtown area that has like a name for the neighborhood. And it's just like restaurants and bars and stuff all over the place for like 6 blocks, and it's awesome. But then at the same time, half the restaurants outside of that are closed on Sunday at like period. So it's so weird to be in kind of a small town, big city, a small town city, because it is a city with an airport. It took 5 minutes to get to the airport from the hotel though, so it's kind of like ridiculous.
That
But
old market.
yes, Old Market, it rules. Like there's a lot of cool stuff going on. And then Ghost played the concert on Sunday.
Oh, I didn't realize you were wearing a Ghost shirt. That's fucking sick, dude.
I never I had just like Ron Mars was like, "We're going. You don't have a choice." Because I hadn't listened to their music, and I listened to them a little bit before, but I was like, I want to go in as cold as possible, and it fucking ruled. It was amazing. My first concert I've been to in over a decade too, so it was awesome. But like they're playing in Omaha, Nebraska, so it's weird that it's like there are these towns like that are kind of smaller cities but have cooler shit going on. So I'm looking forward to being in Madison. I'm going to be in Des Moines too next year. I don't know exactly what dates they are, but it's going to be. I'm pretty sure it's just like Madison Comic Con. Same way, like I'm going to be in Minneapolis for the first time at the end of this year. It's the same people they put on Long Beach, Des Moines, Madison, and then this whole new group just put on this Omaha show, and it was so good, man. Not only was Ghost there, the day before we didn't know about it. They had a small music festival going on, headlined by the Pixies.
Wow.
And Silverstone Pickups were there. So Ron Mars went to the zoo on Friday, which apparently amazing zoo. He had a great time. And then Saturday he went to see Pixies, and then Sunday we saw Ghost. So for him it was like, oh my God, amazing weekend.
Beautiful.
What I'm learning is that Ron Mars seems like a good hang.
Ron Mars is a great hang. Ron Mars one time was like, "Oh, you haven't seen Springsteen? I've got tickets. I got an extra ticket. Just come see. Come to Baltimore." Yeah, I couldn't pull that off, but I would have loved to. Ron Mars has McCartney tickets. Ron really is all about them concerts. He's going out. He's going to Canada to see McCartney on Ron's birthday.
Wow.
So yeah, Ron's all about Ron. His whole pitch, because I skipped out on the Pixies show, but he was like, "Hey man, look, like the YOLO aspect of it. He's like, you're only here right now doing this right now. You gotta go do this stuff." And I'm glad I went to Ghost because it freaking ruled. I've been converted.
Look, I'm jealous of your talent as an artist, but now I'm also jealous of the fact that you saw Ghost. That's awesome, dude.
And we locked up our phones. They made us put our phones in a bag.
That's good.
For this concert. And man, I wish I had been able to get like a picture or two, but I don't think I would have had the restraint to only get a picture or two had I had my phone out. And I'm glad that they locked it up because it was worth it. It was such a good, fun, clean, like old school concert experience.
We've got a couple super chats to get. We gotta do the show. This show is getting long in the tooth. We haven't done any news yet. Common Sense with the 199. I want to talk to Dan Abnett and ask questions. Dan Abnett's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, reach out to him. Is he on social? I don't know if he's on social media. A lot of creators have left Twitter. He's probably on Bluesky or something.
He would be a
him
nice
up.
interview, actually, especially with
Yeah.
the Imperial stuff happening that he's coming back into Marvel Cosmic with. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Common Sense again with a 499. Good news. Wes Craig has started his YouTube channel. His channel is called Graphic Language with Wes Craig. Yes, I'm a
Cool.
big fan of Wes's. I'm looking forward to checking out what he does on the YouTube channel, and I am dying to get him on this channel.
Yeah. I already subbed. His latest video is penciling Kaya.
I am going to have to sub as well. I love Wes. He's a great guy.
Yeah. You know what? We owe some wheel spins. So one of the new things, Gavin, that we're doing is that every $10 or more super chat triggers a wheel spin, and we have to do whatever the wheel lands on. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wheel spins that we owe. So throughout the course of the show, we'll get to the rest of those. We'll do one now.
All right. What are we getting here?
I hope it's a water break. I'm fucking thirsty.
I just reserve the right to abstain.
Yes.
It's Do You Know Your Pals?
Oh.
Okay. So we need a pal's fact,
Okay.
and we need to see who we can attribute this pal fact to.
Okay.
So Marco, please put up a poll with our names on it. And we will give you a fact about the pals, and you have to tell us whose fact it is.
I think everyone should throw a fact in.
Yeah,
the
we're all throwing facts in the chat. Gavin, you should throw a fact. I mean, if you feel like playing, you can throw a fact into our Zoom chat. It doesn't have to be like some crazy, deeply personal thing.
Mm.
Sean, I think your fact might also apply to me. No, okay, no, I'm getting people mixed up. Marco's fact is that he types. Oh, okay.
Oh, all right. Well, shit, we've all done that.
Yeah, for real.
One of the comics pals auditioned for Kids Say the Darndest Things. Chat, vote in the poll that is up right now and tell us who auditioned for Kids Say the Darndest Things.
It feels like a very specific. I feel like that one's not. I mean, obviously, I could be wrong. That feels like one particular person, not the three.
Huh.
Okay,
Ooh.
I'm interested to hear who you think it is. Well, you can say who you think it is. Who do you think it is?
Feels like Tyler.
Okay,
but also there's an angle to this that like parents are involved, and it's kind of like, well, whose parents? But I'm gonna.
And you've met all of our parents.
Exactly. So it feels like a Tyler one to me.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to end the poll, and we'll see what the chat thinks. 55% of you think it's Tyler. 34% think it's Marco. Only 10% think it's me.
It was me. Yeah, I didn't get far. I was very shy as a child. And this was the Cosby era, so
probably for the best.
I wasn't his type, but yeah, better off.
Tommy Gunn, this has to be Marco because he continues to say the darndest things. Me?
Oh shit! It ain't me. Said it ain't me. I don't even know if I watched that show.
I was a big Cosby fan as a kid. I know that sounds bad, but like Cosby as himself,
he's my dad.
I wore at my DVD player.
Reruns.
Let's spin again. Let's see where it lands. Let's spin again.
Lie to Marco.
Ah,
sick. All right, I Gavin, this one I would love for you to if you want to. So the goal
Okay.
here is to tell Marco something true based on comics. Tell him something true. Tell him something that's a lie that you come up with, and he has to decide which is true and which is a lie. Very simple.
Okay.
One truth and a lie, basically.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you like all of us, or
Just you.
oh man. Um, I don't
Good.
know. I'm on the. I'm bad on the fly.
Okay. All right.
I got one if
Go
you
for
want. Okay. Which one is true, Marco? Spider-Man and Hellcat had a sex tape in Marvel Comics, or Superman and Big Barda had a sex tape in DC Comics?
Hmm. The sex tape already is throwing me up. Um, See, I feel like there's a meme about Superman and Barda. I'm gonna say that that's the truth and that Peter and Hellcat is the lie.
You're right. You're right. I don't think
Oh.
they never fully went through with it, but the filming began for the sex tape because of some weird apocalypse pervy demon.
We did this on the show.
Yeah.
We talked about it on the show. They were mind controlled.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
yeah, Superman was
I
mind controlled.
have
Yeah.
a vague recollection of that. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Saved me till the next one.
Unreal.
I think his name was like Sleazoid or something like that.
God. Oh, I forgot to mention, Aiden. This was the shirt that I mentioned I was gonna wear. This is issue 60 of Swamp Thing, one of my favorite issues. If you ever get
I like
into
how
it,
y'all both have vintage cover
I have
shirts.
multiple.
I'm just a big Taskmaster guy, so
Nice.
Yeah.
one of the best character designs ever.
I don't disagree.
We actually have a Patreon pal question that we need to tackle. This one comes from Entertain Me. By the way, patrons at our highest tier, you guys can submit questions for the show, and we will read them on the air and dig into them and dive into them. So if you want access to that, head on over to patreon.com and hang out with us on that side of things. Entertain Me says, does Bruce Wayne hate being Batman, or can something make him hate being Batman? Example, Joker kills all the Bat family members. Through all that, Batman still can't bring himself to kill Joker for what he has done. Would that be enough to push him into hating the idea of Batman?
No,
No.
it like will vindicate him. It will push him deeper. It is not a thing of dissuading. He'll like hone in even harder on that stuff because he now has more of a reason, more to kind of avenge. He's hyper focused.
Bruce Wayne is Batman at his core. He cannot leave Batman. If anything, he needs to be vindicated that Bruce Wayne needs to exist.
Yeah, he could quit the other way.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's so built into his DNA at this point that nothing can justify him not being Batman anymore. Even if he had a successor that was better than him, he would still, Terry McGinnis and Bruce Wayne, he'd still be the man in the chair. He would still be working as Batman in some capacity.
Yeah, the closest I could see would be if maybe you wrote it so that everything he touched turned to shit to the point where it was like, I'm the problem. But even then, like, again, he would just maybe man the chair. I don't think he would give up entirely.
And if he was the problem, if only there was like some kind of protocol that would stop him,
Yeah.
like a Zuranar,
Oh,
maybe.
Sure. Or like, I thought you were going to go with like maybe like if there was like a social safety net that could like cure all the ills.
In Gotham?
Not enough.
White Knight deals with that, actually. The Batman White Knight series deals with a lot of that stuff. As much as I love The Dark Knight Rises as a movie, and I love the ending of that movie for that
The least realistic
trilogy,
part.
yeah, like that's not going to happen, and that doesn't apply to Batman. That applies to that franchise's version of Batman, but definitely not the comics version. I don't see any scenario where Batman could quit. I think Bruce must be Batman because the mission is never over. In fact, I think if the worst thing that could ever happen to Batman would be to ultimately succeed, because then what do you do? He
Right.
must be. But thank you for the question. Entertain me. I really appreciate that, dude. Top 5 ultimate characters. We've been in this for the last week. We each gave our number 5s last week, so we'll do our number 4 here this week. Gavin, you weren't a part of it last week. Do you have like a number 1 favorite ultimatized version of a character? Fair enough.
So I would say I can't necessarily put them in order, but I quite like Ultimate Cap personally. Uh, at least from like the first 2 runs. Because yes, he is a hard ass, and yes, he is like aggressively jingoistic, but he also is like still trying to do the right thing. It's just his conception of the right thing isn't always necessarily what I would agree with. And he is, it is pretty awesome seeing him kick Giant Man's ass as a little guy. But Spider-Man definitely would be my one. It's tough because like as I'm thinking about it, like Torch isn't really any different uh, in Ultimates, but he's a lot of fun. Um, Spider-Man, Torch, Cap. Who I feel like Ultimate Tony is really what MCU Tony became
100%.
because 616 Tony is not a smart aleck in the same way that martini drinking, puking in his suit Ultimate Tony is. So I'd put Ultimate Tony up there. And you know what? Ultimate J. Jonah Jameson, especially the way that his arc turns through Ultimatum, because there's a moment for him that is one of my favorite, like, especially when you consider that they laid that groundwork for 100 issues for him to then have that pivot was like so good. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, let me sneak in Ultimate Iceman because Bobby is just a trip.
Because the do-rag.
He's just such a fucking like teen boy in a way that's just kind of like goofy and fun in those books where they let him, he's let me replace Torch with Bobby. I'll do that. I'll replace Torch with Iceman.
Okay.
He's got some serious stuff going on, but he's just like, I don't want to call him the comic relief per se, but he's just such a little smart ass, and I kind of love him. Especially as an adult now, as with kids. It's like he's funny to me.
How about you, Marco?
My number 4 is actually Ultimate Tony. When we first get introduced to him, I can feel how like it feels pretentious. I think you're right that it feels like what the MCU version comes. So there's also a level of familiarity from my part on that end. And I think that the way that he plays into he leans into the character. He very much is the billionaire playboy, but he's so smart that it's uh, like he makes a point to, I guess, not be confrontational, but he makes it a point for you to know that he's up there and he deserves the respect. So I thought that was always an interesting version of the character. And I don't have as much of a familiarity with OG, the main line. So this feels like a defining version for me.
How about you, Tyler?
Mine is Ultimate Thor. Um, Victor pretty much said everything I needed to say last week. I like how it is a depiction on like what a person in real life claiming to be God could be. And honestly, the design is key to it. I really like that original Ryan Hitch design of Ultimate Thor. And I like how Loki is built into his lore. Is like kind of like gaslighting brother. It's like, oh no, we're just Swedish, or we're just Icelandic or whatever. I thought that was a good bit. So I would put Ultimate Thor as my number 4.
Awesome. For me, my number 4 is Ultimate Venom. I really, really, really love the way that Brian Bendis flipped Venom. It's not because I don't like mainline Venom. I actually love mainline Venom. I just think that original story, that original Venom story, cannot be topped. And that character for me has not ever been as interesting as his original story. I think that was very much a like one and done type of thing. And everything after that is chasing a success that you're not going to catch. But because the character's so popular, they keep him around. Bendis didn't do the obvious thing with Venom, and he made him a character who's more connected to Peter. Eddie Brock in that world is an old friend of Peter's, who's also, smart. And, this is a thing that destroys their friendship. And making it more intimate in that way, I thought was really smart. I think he looks cool. And I love that it's a more science-based origin than the, it's a space alien type thing. So I love everything about it.
I'll say Hayden brought up Kitty Pryde, and she's really like I would probably put her, if not in top 5, right outside too, especially because she touches multiple series. Yeah, Kitty Pryde in the Ultimate Universe is fantastic.
Yeah, she's all over that.
Who is your least favorite Ultimate hero? Because I'll say for me, Ultimate Daredevil is a real dickhead for the limited amount of pages we get with him. He's an asshole to Spider-Man because he shows up in Spider-Man first. Then they did his failed series with him and Elektra, and then he gets killed in the wave. But yeah, he's just like so much of he's changed for the worse. Who do you think has changed for the worse?
Go ahead, Marco.
Sorry. Initially, I didn't like that version of Hulk. It felt reductive to like have him. It made sense, to have him be this like, when he transforms, be this person that's being driven by his desires, and it's very one-minded, which is in contrast to Banner, but also Banner being a little more like weak and sniveling, I guess. I just didn't like how they made him, especially compared to like the scientist that he is and how respected he is in mainline. So that was always one character I was like, I feel like they kind of did him dirty, and then he transforms and they did him dirtier.
Hank Pym. I didn't. The making him a domestic abuser obviously comes from mainline, but Mark leaned into it. And there's nothing inherently wrong with addressing that issue. I think it's important to address big issues like that. But the book's not addressing it. It just is what it is. Right. And the super violence, the superhero domestic violence scene between them is a little much for me. And there's nothing redeeming about this version of Hank. And I didn't appreciate that. I like the fact that mainline Hank has one moment of makes one mistake.
Right. It is a very minute, small moment in time, as opposed to the knockout, drag out fight that he has in Ultimate with like coffee pots and pans and fucking furniture. Yeah, they go.
He tried to kill him.
Yeah.
He tried to kill him.
Spray. Yeah.
That just felt too far for me. So yeah, it's a good question actually. I also wanted to make sure that we hit on what Entertain Me said in his follow-up. He said, I never meant that Batman would give up on being Batman, but more like he would just hate that he has to be Batman. So the question is, do we think that Bruce would ever hate being Batman? And I think my answer is still no.
Yeah, I feel like part of it's kind of a drug for him, and part of it is that drive to do it being such a part of his psychology. I think you can't I don't think he could, by definition of him being driven to do it, there's a want to do it, as opposed to like, oh, I gotta go to work today, I fucking hate my job, I'm still gonna do it because I have to, but I hate it. I don't feel like it's that way for him at all. I think because he is personally driven, that there's an element of it where it doesn't really necessarily feel like a burden because it's what he wants to be doing. I feel like if he could, it would be what he would want to do all the time.
100%. And I feel like every Batman media shows you that.
Yeah.
Him having to be reined in. Okay, so we've only got, actually, you know what? let's spin the wheel again. Why don't we
Spin
do
that
that?
fucking wheel.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's see where it lands.
Revelation.
Ooh. Okay. So, Marco, please put up a poll with Gavin. Do you want to participate? It's okay
What
if you
is
don't. So
what
we
is
just have to give a revelation. It could be personal, it could be comics based. Like mine last week was that I had never actually read Dark Phoenix Saga until we did a book club about it, even though Phoenix is my favorite character.
let's fucking do it.
All right, awesome. So throw all our names on there. Chat will vote for who they most want to hear a revelation from, and then we'll give it to you guys. I love this wheel spin.
My revelation is I didn't win these Lady Gaga tickets. God damn it.
That sucks.
Damn, dude.
Vexes
Michael
me.
Havoc. Go ahead.
I said vexes me yet again.
Michael Havoc says Ultimates is the story about these very human characters becoming the myths we know they can be. I don't know that I got that out of the book, actually. I don't feel like it's that at all.
I don't feel like they become the myths. Like if anything, they get bad publicity.
Yeah. Like if you read those first 2 volumes of Ultimates, there's no myth building. If anything, I think it's taking the piss. It's satiring the myths that they are in mainline.
Yeah, it's a jaded look at superheroes
Yeah,
as opposed to like an archetypical.
Yeah. There's no. I don't agree with that. But welcome to the channel, anyhow, my friend. Appreciate having you here. Let's close the. Oh, Jesus. 100% of the votes are for Gavin.
Okay, I've got one, and it's in line with what you said. I have never read more than a single issue or so of any Hickman run.
What?
Whoa.
I just have it, not by any not liking it, just I have not read any of his big runs. I've read a little bit of FF, maybe 2 issues, and then just like the next day didn't go back to it because I was working or whatever, and I just haven't gone back to it. I've not read any of it, and I haven't been reading Ultimate Spider-Man much because I just we'll talk.
No X-Men? Wow. Brother, you're missing
Nope.
out.
I look, I'm well aware that they're beloved, and I understand and I appreciate, but also I have rare time to read comics now, and a lot of what he's done has been in lieu of me having kids and whatever, and having like grown up life. Then being comics, being in the industry makes it harder. But also when I read it makes me sleepy, so it's even harder to
Same.
like
Yeah.
really get a run, and it bums me out to no end that like I'll start a run and then I'm gonna yawn thinking about it, and I'll start getting tired and then not necessarily go back to it. But yeah, I have not read a single run of Hickman's.
Dude, we're talking about Ultimates. Hickman's Ultimate Comics Ultimates redeems that group.
Really? Okay.
It's very good. It's
I haven't
very
read,
good.
and like I know Secret Wars is supposed to be very good, and I know a lot of what happens, but because of video essays and stuff like that, and hearing friends talk about it, because I'm not one of those people that I feel like if I have a story spoiled for me for the most part, it doesn't actually spoil the story for me because I also understand that how the story is told is a big part of it, not just what happens.
Yep.
So I can know that so and so is going to be in the thing and be like, cool, great, I can still enjoy it just the same. But that said, I just haven't. Yeah, I know. And there's a lot. There's a lot to go back to. Avengers, FF, Secret Wars.
Secret Warriors with Bendis.
There's a ton. There's a ton. I know. I'm aware. And no, I see, Gavin, did you buy the issues? Yes and no. I actually, because I am a digital subscriber, I can read them whenever. But I did also buy one of the digital collected editions because Comixology runs sales on those trades, man, and they'll give out like a fucking omnibus trade, like the digital version of an omnibus for like $6, and it's like 70 damn comics. I'm not going to pass up a $6 collection. They'll do $1 trades. So I'll grab books on sale like that. And, obviously it's digital, but I mean, like, I don't think Amazon's going away anytime soon. So I don't mind grabbing them that way. So I have some of them. I just, again, But I'm also buying those things on sale amongst like the last big trade sale I participated in. I spent like $160 because I just kept going back and buying more and more shit. So at that point, it's then okay, what do I read next? You know, the pile. I'll get to it eventually, but it's much, I guess, much the same way. Well, no, not the same way as you with All Star, because I'm willing to read it, as opposed to it being a joke.
Shots fired.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's looking for the book right now. He's like, I got it.
Sure,
I'll read it.
my
Energy.
audio went out. I missed. I didn't hear
Yeah.
anything. Sorry.
But yeah,
Okay.
no Hickman.
A book that I own in 2 forms too.
You have the
Yes,
compact,
that's-
right?
That's extra fucked.
Yeah, I have the compact and I have the deluxe trade. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I've probably read in total maybe 6 or 7 issues of his stuff, and I recognize that he's a great writer. But actually, the thing that I've read the most of his is East and West, because I was reading that live at the time.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Well, listen, I see you differently now, Gavin. This is shocking, but you know.
I'm glad I found a good one that fit read the Revelation, because it could
Well-
have been like, I don't know, I don't like mustard on hamburgers. I have a hard and fast rule with my condiments. Mustard is for hot dogs. Mayo and ketchup is for hamburgers, but even so, I usually just prefer mayo. But people who like, I'm not a ketchup on a hot dog
I
guy.
think.
Huh.
Oh, I'm with you 100% on that.
Mustard.
I think it should be illegal. Honestly,
Let's talk about it.
I think we need to crack down on ketchup users on hot dogs.
Let's
No.
get some legislation going.
I agree. I'm gonna run for office.
I haven't had a hot dog in 20 years, and still I find myself offended by this conversation.
I have
Barbecues?
had too many this week alone.
I don't think they taste good. I don't.
Okay.
For my palate, they're not. I don't find them good. But
I will say, I will say that we also are now, compared to 20 years ago, in an era where hot dog flavor wise could be a ton of different things. Like we've got a place out here called Dat Dog, and I mean like gator sausage, chicken, turkey. You know, it's not always pork. Then there's beef. Also, I'm not a all beef. I'm not a guy all beef guy. I prefer pork,
Oh.
That
Hot
dog
dogs.
is great. I've been
and
there.
Dat Dog rules.
Yeah, yeah. They had a huge ass chili dog there that I loved.
Samuel
Yeah.
Summers just says that. Love the chili dogs.
Yeah, that's one of the few places I went to when I was in New Orleans. I've
So
pictures
not
of it.
not to say that you should be eating hot dogs if you don't like them. I'm just saying like 20 years ago, a hot dog was a hot dog.
We're in
Nowadays,
brat
there's
territory
a little
now.
bit. There's a little bit of they're elevated now.
It's a
sometimes.
gator?
Gator dog. Yeah, you
Oh,
ever eat gator, Marco?
gator sausage. Gator sausage. Gator is a lot like chicken.
Yeah.
But gator sausage is really good.
Oh, dude. I gotta try that.
Gator's just like gamier chicken, right?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
dude, I'll do you one better. I've never had a hot dog from a place other than my home or a street vendor. So I've never had
You've
like a
Only had dirty water dogs?
yeah.
Whew.
So you've never had like a sporting event hot dog? It's been like specifically like on the street. Wow.
Yep.
Coney
And there are
Island,
restaurants
Nathan's?
now built around hot dogs, like JJ's Red Hots
Yeah.
in Charlotte. Dat Dog, Lucky Dog.
Go to-
There's
Grace Papaya, New York.
Yeah, Nathan's. Boardwalk.
Nathan's. Their fries are good.
I remember I bumped into Regis Philbin at Grace Papaya once.
What?
Could have
Sonic
saved that for a
sells-
revelation.
Damn it.
Sonic, the fast food restaurant, sells hot dogs.
And Sonic the character loves hot dogs.
And Sonic's conies are pretty good sometimes.
There you go.
I depressed ate a lot of Sonic hot dogs in Buffalo when I lived there. Yeah.
Nice.
That's the word.
All right.
Chili cheese
let's-
tots all the way.
Let's get into the news. We don't have a ton of stuff to talk about in this space, but speaking of Jeff Loeb, he is proving some of us right or wrong, depending on the side of things you land on with Hush 2 and the quality of the scripts there. But Jim Lee is his collaborator, and I love me some Jim Lee. I will not be able to, and nor will any of you be able to see Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee's next edition of Hush for some time because it has been delayed yet again.
Writer's fault. It's the writer's fault.
It could be. We don't know. I have a supposition, but this issue is now delayed until October.
Yikes.
So Batman 162 is dropping. It was supposed to come out in September. And now it's allegedly coming out in October. But Batman 163 is also slated for October. 2 weeks later, there is no way that 163 comes out in October 2 weeks after 162. If 162 is this delayed, what the fuck state is 163 even in? When are we getting that comic?
So what part of the story I've been reading? What part is this? Is this part
Four?
3 or 4?
So this will be the fourth edition. Yeah,
Because they're doing 6 and then coming back with the back half 6 later, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's already kind of weird, and then they're already going to be running into issues because Fraction and
Jimenez.
Jorge are
Yeah.
coming in.
There's going to be
boy,
2 volumes of Batman releasing simultaneously.
And
I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
I was saying no comment because one of these guys is my boss, technically.
Yeah.
But yikes! I'll throw out a yikes.
Well, look, Jim Lee's art to me is worth waiting for,
Sure.
if that's why we're waiting. My problem is more in the realm of what Tyler just mentioned, which is the fact that now there will be a Batman #1 volume, I think it's 4, and at the exact same time, 162 and 3, whatever, volume 3. They'll be releasing concurrently. It's not going to be just one issue now. It's going to be at least 2.
So you can't even do legacy numbering on this until we know where Hush 2 ends, because then you would have to retroactively make Batman #1 whatever the retro. What the fuck?
Well, technically, I mean, if you just add up the 12, let's say you just do the 12, right? You just
Yeah.
start at the end,
I
tail
guess so.
end of
Yeah.
12.
Yeah.
Weird.
But at the same time, you're going to have other legacy books that are later on the line being published first.
There's no, in terms of continuity, is that your question?
Well, I mean, just like for the history of looking back in 5 years
Sure.
when we look at these numbers, like, so then is because invariably they're going to be renumbered anyway. But so then are we going to have a #1 coming out that's technically what issue is this? 12? What's issue that's delayed? 12?
162.
162. Okay, 162. So ostensibly,
Yeah.
issue 1 is technically 173 or whatever. So is 173 going to come out before 165?
Yeah.
Well,
I
it's
see
not
what
even
you mean.
173 though, because that's just following the numbering of that volume. If we're talking like general Batman numbering,
Right.
it's
Right.
in the
So, man,
thousands.
this is ooh boy, clusterfuck.
It's one of those things that some poor soul at DC is going to have to figure out whenever it's time for the next, milestone or what have you.
Yikes, man.
I think it's a bad thing for readers because there's a lot of confusion there. Batman will look different. He'll have a completely different costume.
Tim's back.
Yeah, like
Yeah, 'cause-
it's bad. And this book was supposed to have launched a year ago, friends. This was supposed to be out in 2024. It didn't start until 25, and it's not even going to end in 25 at this point.
Oof. Yeah. Forget about it.
Well, I'm excited for Fraction.
Hey, yeah, looking ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen DC been putting out some videos of him talking about what he wants to do with the run, and it seemed intriguing to me. So I am excited for that.
The best thing I can say is that DC is not delaying Fraction and Jimenez's debut for this. That's a good thing.
Good.
I love what Jorge's doing with the designs. That new Robin suit looks fucking awesome. I'm excited that Tim Drake is finally going to get some love. But that is man, that's wild. I didn't realize it was that bad.
Yeah, I don't know. Look, Jim Lee to me is the biggest bomb that DC can ever launch. Like he will, if he's coming down, that's an instant success.
Right.
But the problem is that he's already got a style and his style, the way he draws. He's deliberate. He takes his time, but then he's also a very busy man. He's doing a
Hmm.
ton of signings right now. He is signing his ass off. He's also the whatever CCO, COO, whatever his title is at DC. He's a big time head honcho there. So, and he's a family man. I just don't
He has
know.
a giant family too.
Yeah, he's going to weddings. He's doing all sorts of stuff.
Got variant covers he's doing.
Yeah,
Cole says, I don't find it that confusing, to be honest, and it only crossed over 2 issues. Hush 3 was always planned as a separate 6 mini later on. So we know Hush 2, it wouldn't be Hush 3. It would still be Hush 2.
as far as I'm aware, it's Hush 2. Yes.
Yeah.
Still.
At this point, why don't they just continue the numbering? Like, go into the set 170s at this point. Because I think if you then relaunch with a Hush 2.5 mini series outside of the numbering, you're even more in the weeds at that point.
It was always a weird proposition to be doing a relaunch in between two
Yep.
parts of a major story.
Yeah.
Which is also technically a continuation of an older story. To then have there be any scheduling problems whatsoever is just like a hat on the hat in terms of like clusterfuck.
Yeah.
Right.
At this point, it's already fucked. Just deal with the one fuckage that you have instead of making it a double fuckage.
Yeah, because you can't unfuck both.
Yeah.
It is an unfuckable situation. It is already fucked. So we do what we can. And you know what we're gonna do now? We're gonna spin the wheel. We're gonna spin the wheel. We owe 3 more, so we're gonna get through those. Where are we at, Tyler?
Lie to Marco. Who wants to lie to Marco? You want to do it, Sean?
Sick. Yeah, I'll lie to Marco. Let's see. What is the lie? What is the lie? What is the lie? Where am I gonna go? So Secret Invasion is a 2000 Marvel event written by Bendis, art by Lineal Yu. But what you probably don't know, Marco, is that the event actually was kicked off with something that happened in New Avengers probably like a year beforehand, where they actually discovered the dead body of Daredevil and found that he was really a Skrull. Daredevil died in one of the conflicts that the New Avengers had, and when they autopsied his body, they found that he was a Skrull, and that kicked off the Secret Invasion because the question was, if Daredevil is a Skrull, then who can we trust? Who can we rely on if Daredevil's a Skrull? So there you go. But what also happened in Secret Invasion is we learned a lot more people were Skrulls. There was a Skrull ship that landed, and on it you had characters like Beast, Wonder Man, Emma Frost, who were all revealed to have been Skrulls for an indeterminate amount of time. So the question that I'm asking you, I guess, what's true, what's a lie, is those 3 characters I mentioned, did they come off that ship? Was Daredevil the autopsied hero?
Sean, sometimes you feel like I have too many chains to yank. I know for a fact it was Elektra.
What?
That's enough pop culture that you guys have referenced that I know.
Nice.
Yeah, you and I have yapped at that maybe too many times on the show. It's just
Nice.
It's just nice to know Marco's listening.
Yeah,
I do.
good stuff. It's getting harder to lie to Marco. The Marco bot is learning.
The AI is updating
Oh, no.
its features.
Oh no.
ChatGPT 5 just came out. It's a new processor.
Shut up. I don't want it. One more time, Sean.
Sure. When in doubt, scrolls. Yes, Aaron Ruiz, exactly.
Well, Marco, I hope you like talking. You got 60 seconds.
Oh, a Marco's minute. Okay, so Marco's gonna get 1 minute to talk about Marco, how important is it to do your bed in the morning, to make your bed in the morning?
You know what? It's not. It's when I'm getting ready to go to bed. I like to make sure that I throw out the I throw out the blanket, kind of like start to fan it out. I set up the pillows and make sure I have 4 pillows. One of which goes in between the legs. The other one goes for my cat. So you can get like a nice, separation between the thighs. And then one in case I need to have a firmer or softer pillow. So those are the four, right? Firm, soft, leg, and cat pillow. But the morning, I just get up. I just wake up. I get out, and then when I come back to bed, that's where I start to prepare everything and make sure that I'm set and tucked. And I like to make sure I tuck the top sheets under the mattress so that it doesn't move during the night because I like to be cozied.
And that's where you lost me.
Dude,
That's too tight.
I fucking don't understand you at all, brother.
So I'm with Marco on most of this. I have cats that pretty much use my bed while I'm working throughout the day. So they mess it up. They're fighting on it. They're playing. So making my bed is a little fruitless. I'm gonna have to make
This isn't your minute, Tyler.
I know, but I'm saying I agree with Marco. Is it
I'll-
do the pets use your bed?
Sometimes, mostly my girlfriend uses. She's there napping. She's there doing whatever. But I feel like I was getting some judgy looks from Gavin.
Well, because you started off by saying not in the morning, but before I go to bed, I make the bed.
Yeah.
And that's where I was like, we've got some definitional confusion here. So you're not so much making the bed, but you are assembling your sleep pod.
That's right. My charging port.
Yeah. Because you clearly have a system that you like to operate under, including like vacuum sealing yourself into the sheets.
Yeah, that I don't get.
What? Come on.
No,
I love that.
I gotta be loosey goosey in my sheets, man.
No, I don't like that. I always make sure I'm like wrapped.
Then
I'm a
why do you need to
burrito.
make the bed if you just can't you just slip right out?
I typically do, but I'm not the one making the mess. So
Fair.
Every
Shots
minute I
fired.
spend with you, Marco, is just illuminating.
a revelation.
Yes, we'll say that.
Because I added that to Wikipedia.
The last bit of news we're going to tackle today, and don't go away, don't go anywhere, because not only do we have the GOAT game coming, but we also have the Gavin Guidry giveaway, the Triple G. And you want to be a winner of that sweet Ultimate Spider-Man sketch card. Do you want to show that to the people?
Oh, yeah.
Show them what they could win. Look at that beauty.
I think we should offer the Marco one as well if they really want that. Marco can send it to him in a NFT, right?
That's right. Marco's magnanimous
Oh God.
making.
What the fuck?
I added action lines, and if you see, they're very subtle, but you can see the little the spidey senses. He's tingling a
It
little
looks
bit.
like if the Ally McBeal baby got aborted.
Oh, buy Marco for that, just in case.
The share of comics.
Wow, Marco. The two poles of artistry, by the way. Both are art. They are
It's still
genuinely both art.
Yeah.
And you can't critique it, but
Oh,
one's
you
very
can
different than
critique
the other.
You can critique it.
Yeah.
You can, if anything, Gavin,
There's some anatomy issues, I think.
any notes? I took from Bagley too. He's lanky.
Yeah, you're like
Yeah,
big kid head. I
fair.
got you.
Yeah, I need to change the eye. The position of the eyes is to be a little lower to give him more of a forehead.
I'm with figure drawing, though. Why did you barbecue Spider-Man?
He's in the black suit.
Black suit.
Damn.
I was trying to figure out how to. This is not my iPad. It's my girlfriend's iPad, and I don't know how to use Procreate. And so black was the only color that was available. I didn't know how to fuddle too much. Fiddle.
You're an MS Paint guy.
Yeah. The eye is actually just me using the eraser to make the thing.
Use of negative space.
mean,
You're like a Javier Rodriguez.
I hear you, but also this is only done with black.
Oh, damn.
Draw outlines.
I sketched him first in like a very stick figure, and then I tried to add body.
Yeah.
You're muted, Tyler.
Never mind.
Oh my god, that's fucking hilarious. Oh man. Okay. DC Black Label is putting out a new book, Batman Green Arrow The Question Arcadia. This is very exciting to me because it is being written, penciled, and inked by one of the GOATs, Gabriel Hardman.
Oh,
I fucking love Gabriel Hardman so much. This dude is an amazing artist and writer. Invisible Republic, a fantastic comic that you guys should check out. Green Lantern. What was it called? The Earth One. Green Lantern Earth One. Gabriel Hardman, if you have never seen his art before, I don't know if Tyler has. Yeah, Tyler has the cover, I guess, or maybe one of the pages up.
It's one of the covers. I have some pages as well. Interiors. Yeah.
I did not hear this announcement. This looks awesome.
There's also a phenomenal Dennis Cohen and Sienkiewicz variant cover for this that I just love. I'm a big Sienkiewicz guy.
So. Whoa! I just saw that.
That cover's fire.
Yeah.
Oh man.
This is going to be great.
Yeah, I've actually never met Gabriel, but we're going to be at a small one-day show in Oklahoma next month, and I'm particularly like earmarked like I'm going to meet Gabriel Hartman.
Yeah, nice.
That's awesome.
He was one of the first interviews I ever did, and he was really nice to me. Really good guy.
For his non-superhero work, Aliens Dust to Dust was a very good I think 4 or 5 issue mini Dark Horse.
He had a really short thing with a dog called Kinski.
Yes,
I have that. Yeah, I have that.
Which is really good too. I mean, and outside of comics, like he's a really prolific storyboard artist, including Dark Knight and Inception.
Yep.
Gabriel's freaking. Damn, that looks good. I'm hyped. I didn't even know that was a thing. That's awesome.
Yeah, Gabriel Hardman is the man. We don't get enough of his comics work for the reasons that Gavin just illuminated. He's got tons of other work that probably pays better, quite frankly. But thankfully, he does love comics, and so he is dipping his toe back into the water, so to speak, to do this. Here's a quote from Gabriel Hardman. I've wanted to tell a story about Batman, Green Arrow, and the Question since I was 14 years old, and I couldn't be more excited to finally get the chance. While I'm taking inspiration from the great work of Denny O'Neil, Dennis Cohen, and Mike Grell, this series isn't an exercise in nostalgia. I'm taking the grounded approach they spearheaded in the late 80s and moving forward, having these 3 difficult, opinionated personalities confront a contemporary brand of criminality on a global scale.
That's, man, and he's right, because they are big personalities that approach, like, they're street level vigilantes, but they're also huge personalities that are all different. Like, they all have different approaches to the world in terms of even if you broke it into like modern socio-political groupings, they're all different. So that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, this is launching in November. It's going to be 4 issues. Again, it's a black label book. It's going to be tackling the DC.com article says class warfare and ecological collapse. So big time story. Gabriel Hardman loves to play with those kinds of themes. Invisible Republic was all about that stuff. So this is in his wheelhouse.
Yeah, I'm
very hyped. Yeah, good shit. You're going to hear us talk about that on Pal Spools for sure. So we've got 4 things left to do. 1 more wheel spin. So let's go ahead and do that now and see where we land. We've got the wheel spin, the giveaway, the game, and I got to read some more names off. What are we doing, Tyler?
We haven't done this one yet. Stump a pal. Stump the pals. Is this where the listeners get to try and stump us?
Yeah.
Logistically speaking, though.
the original concept, it's not going to work today. Okay. The original concept was that the listener who triggered the wheel spin would get to stump us. But
yeah.
Well, you have a drink instead.
Oh, thank God. Yeah. Have just a water break.
I've been cheating the whole time.
Yeah, me too. I finished my cold brew.
Chat, take a water break. We've been here for 3 hours. If you guys are like us and yapping your lives away, take a drink of water or whatever's clever, whatever's closest. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, so if you're imbibing, hats off to you. Thank you guys so much for triggering all those wheel spins with your super chats. Really appreciate the love and support. What are you holding, Gavin?
Crypto.
Oh, yeah, I love it.
My wife got me this. She saw it the other day at the store.
So. The little cape.
Is that an official Squishmallow?
It is a Squishmallow. Good call.
Oh.
And then I've got DC put out a new one that I pre-ordered, and he's sitting on top of the thing.
Oh.
Oh, cool.
And then we bought one from the movie theater. So I've been like, I bought 3 separate cryptos.
Summer of crypto.
Or I paid for 3. Yeah. So this house, we have 4 stuffed cryptos now in this house.
Nice.
Yeah. The one that I bought when I was a teenager, my kids have, and then we've got the other ones. And now this guy.
Nah, it's
Pretty cool. So he hangs out with me in here now.
He's gonna get an actual crypto.
Him and Squirtle.
Hey,
That
Squirtle.
boy sleeping.
Best boy.
He's sleepy.
That boy slumped.
Sleepy boy. Okay, so next I'm going to. No, we're going to play the game. We'll play the GOAT game next.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
So we're gonna pick what permutation of us it's gonna be.
Fingers crossed I'm not involved.
It is everyone besides me.
Oh.
So Marco, Sean, and Gavin.
Yep.
Okay, so our responsibility will be to argue for why this next upcoming character is the greatest of all time.
And so you guys each are going to be doing the same character, or should I do?
We're each going to be doing the same character.
Okay.
We'll each get 45 seconds to make our pitch,
Okay.
and it's going to be tag team.
Oh,
So-
Collective.
Yes.
I
So
see. We'll
Oh
continue.
boy. Okay.
we'll say Marco starts. I'll be in the middle, and Gavin, you go last.
Okay.
Who are we arguing for?
Oh,
Right.
Starfire.
it's got no, it's not. That's just where it's
Oh.
starting off at.
That'd be amazing.
Oh, never mind.
Say,
It is
Let's say
going to
costume.
be the
Done.
Metal Men.
Oh no.
Okay. I don't know
I
what
know
the fuck.
so little about the Metal Men.
You're lucky
Marco-
Marco's starting this one off.
Yeah, you're gonna have to hold us down, bro. Set the stage. I'm
Holy
giving us
shit.
the timer. 45 seconds, Marco. Starting now.
Heroes are born and some heroes are made. And in this particular instance, Dr. William Magus decided, I'm going to make 6 robots. Why? Because the world needs heroes. And who are those heroes? You're going to get gold, iron, lead, tin, platinum, and mercury. The best squad, the best team here to solve any of your issues to any capacity. Gold, one of the most reactive materials. Tin, pliable. Platinum, strong. Lead, liquid. Mercury as well. You have such a versatility to be able to solve issues and solve problems that, believe it or not, this team has become incredibly successful in everything that
Okay.
they do.
That's it. You put it 45 minutes, Sean.
Oh shit! Whoops.
Oh, I was going to go to the end of that minute.
No,
Oh
you
my
want to go?
god!
Well, I just
All right,
counted 45.
I'm next. One of the things I love about the Metal Men and what makes them the greatest heroes of all time is that you're not going to see the kind of interpersonal fighting that you see with teams like the Justice League, teams like the Avengers, that so often lead to the problems that they end up having to solve. Let's talk about it. Who created Ultron? That was Hank Pym, a member of what? The Avengers. They created one of the greatest enemies they will ever have, one of the biggest threats to humanity. The Metal Men are never going to create an enemy. They were created to stop the enemy. And that's exactly what they do. The Metal Men are arguably better than the League. You know why? Because where's Superman all the time? He's always fucking off. Batman never leaves Gotham. These people are unreliable. Gavin.
So if you guys know me, you know that I'm a big fan of throwback, pure characters, pure comics. And if you could think of the short list of properties that just feel like pure throwback comics in all of its hokey, beautiful glory, what other than Metal Men is going to be on that list? It's going to be a short list outside of these guys. They're so simple and iconic in terms of their looks are also different, and they all have very, very defined lines and archetypes around their characterization and their personality and their look. And I think that they are just a beautiful, fundamental part of what comics should be: fun, bombastic, iconic, and kid friendly.
Okay.
Whew.
Nice.
We did it. I like how you dragged your words there, Gavin, at the end to get yourself
Yeah,
over the
Gavin was
line.
a little double spaced, size 13 font. But I
I'm
have
not
said-
practiced at this shit. You guys are vets.
oh, we're not even, I haven't done it yet. So that might have been the best Marco in a long time.
Dude, you got to
Well,
pick the
I
Metal
mean,
Men?
You served him up, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I put him on here hoping you would get Metal Man. Well, actually, I was hoping you wouldn't get it. It was everyone else besides you.
Sure.
Just to see how mad you would get. But
Chat,
yeah.
vote. Let us know. Did we convince you that the Metal Men, did we argue well enough that the Metal Men are the greatest heroes of all time? We tried. Marco, you did your thing, bro.
Come on. If you give me a character that I commit and know, come on.
Yeah, you got
Easy.
your special interests.
Exactly.
Right. Being a robot.
Exactly, yeah.
That I compete with them.
It's the world outside Marco's Windows 98.
Right. He's like, I see myself in all of these characters.
What?
He probably sees himself in Platinum for sure, yeah.
Oh,
hey,
shit.
whoa, hey, easy, Tina.
Kenneth Williams said Marco could have done the 45 minutes.
That's why I had to let you know, Sean. I was like, Marco's gonna keep
Thank
going.
you.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, but you were on deck, Marco. Good shit, dude. Mike Havoc says I don't need anyone to tell me they objectively rule. Okay. All right, fair enough.
Well, it's about if they're the greatest of all time.
Exactly. You guys say yes, we did convince you, not as overwhelmingly as last week, though. 53% of you said yes, 14% of you said no.
Now you got to convince DC.
Yeah, it would have helped to have had more than just like the surface interactions I've had with them where they pop up into things, as opposed to, a deep dive knowledge of them.
Dude,
the Didio run's the only one recently.
My familiarity with the Metal Men is from Alan Moore's Twilight of the Superheroes. That's all I know.
The outline.
Yeah, that's all I know. And they get fucked in that.
And the most recent iteration, I think, was Lead was used in that Plastic Man Black Label book.
There you go.
Oh.
That was very good.
Who, guess what? He gets fucked in that book. I think the Metal Men are constantly getting just used for material.
I think my last interaction with them might have been 52. Not New 52.
Yeah.
52.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
They were in Doomsday Clock, right? Briefly, part of the Superhuman project.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yes, they were in Forever Evil, but I feel like they were passerby in some of that stuff, whereas in Twilight, at least there was a point to them being there, and they had a big part to play. But yeah, absolutely.
They pop up in Doom Patrol stuff,
Yeah.
They're pop-up characters more than anything.
Give them a book
these days. Yeah, Marco could write it.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
Oh, Marco just has to put a prompt in, and he gets a script with a lot of M dashes.
Now, before we get to the giveaway, which we're going to do here in just a moment, before we get to that, I do have to read off the people who deserve and have earned a shout out on the show for being such gracious and great supporters. So thank you to Steve Swarm Canaris, Panda V Panda, Ted Wong, Blur Jekyll Jose, Scripture, the Wardens of the Word, Amin, the Almighty Perez, Houston, the Century Kid Murphy, Peter, Living Lightning Electrics, Lucas Heatwave Holner, Young Dende, the Woody, the Fae Fighter, Shalom, Paladin, Warburg, Cosmic November, Owl, Shogunate. Thank you all so much for all of your support. You guys are the real MVPs of this podcast. You make it possible. So huge shout out to all of you. Oh, and Kyle. I cannot forget Kyle. Kyle, though, belongs at the top of the shout out. So there you go. I'll make sure to amend that for the future. But thank you so much, Kyle. Now, let's get to the giveaway. The Triple G.
So I've been compiling all the names of people in chatting. That's how we're doing it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you so much for that, dude. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna rattle off, or we're gonna spin a. I don't know if you got a wheel or whatever.
It's not a wheel. It's
digital.
Visual. It's just a list of names that I type in. And it picks one out. Yeah.
And whoever's name comes out, the way it's gonna work is you're gonna have to communicate with us. So reach out to me on Discord is preferable, but you can get us on X, whatever, and we will work it out. Should we limit this to the US? Because I don't know.
It's a postcard, so I don't think it's super hard, and we can pay for any kind of.
Yeah, I don't mind. We can do international.
Okay,
make it work.
All right.
Unless
So
it's like Antarctica, which thanks for watching, but
Yeah.
we'll include international. Thanks to Gavin for that. So yeah, let's see who's gonna win this beautiful piece of artwork from Gavin Guidry. He's coming up on JSA. So we'll be reviewing those for sure. Pick up Gavin's Superman 76, right?
78.
8.
The Metal Curtain. Fantastic book.
I just got royalties for it last night.
Hey.
Let's go. Gavin also did the incredible Uncanny X-Men one shot. The Gambit focused
12.
issue 12. Amazing issue. So let's see who's gonna win that, Tyler.
all right, I just gotta click it.
Do it up.
And the winner is Amin Perez.
Oh, cool. Wow.
I'm so happy for you, dude.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That's cool. And they're super active in the Discord, everything. That's perfect.
Yes,
Yeah.
I would have been happy for anybody, but I'm glad I went to somebody who was a regular here. I mean, you've been here strong for a couple years now, brother. So congratulations to you. You and I can connect very easily. So just reach out and I'll be the middle person between you and Gavin, and we'll get you.
He's still here too, so awesome. Cool.
I'm
Hell
so
yeah.
glad he's here for that too. Awesome, dude.
Congrats.
Congrats.
Oh, wait, it actually says Tyler Olson won.
Don't you have a piece of original
I
Gavin
got
artwork?
2 pieces of Gavin art. I got Kingpin and Wildcat.
Yeah.
Oh,
What's your sketch card price up to now, man?
I do whenever they're fresh. I believe my black and whites are 70 or 90, but I run sales on them so frequently that they end up being anywhere between 40 to 60 on a regular basis. So, and if you catch me at a show, they're usually 60, I want to say. But I also do blind bags with old ones sometimes where you get it for 40 and roll the dice and you don't know what you're getting. So yeah, it depends on where you catch me and on when you hit up the website.
The website, gavinguidry.com. Make sure you guys head on over there and check it out. Gavin's artwork is phenomenal. I say this every time he comes on the show. But you will not be able to get Gavin Guidry artwork for that price in 1 year, maybe even 6 months. So make sure that you jump on that right now. If you see him at a con, he's going to be on tour doing 14 cons.
Yeah, I'm traveling to 12 different cities this year. I've got 6 left, 5 left. I'll be in San Jose, California next weekend. I'll be in Oklahoma City for a day next month. Then I'm doing New York and Baltimore back to back, and then I've got Minneapolis and then Columbus in November and December.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, that's more than one a month. Jeez.
Thankfully I did spread them out where they are mostly monthly. So the worst one is definitely going to be this back to back with New York and Baltimore. But if it's going to be any, that's going to be kind of a tough 2 to do back to back. Those are 2 great big shows that are worth it to do back to back.
Sure.
And then also my wife was like, why even travel home Monday to then fly out again on Thursday? Just stay. And I was like, sold. Extra days in New York, which I've never gotten before.
Yeah.
Done.
Cool.
So yeah, I'm going to be on the road for a good 13 days in October.
Oof.
I have page 13 and 16 in the cart. I haven't pressed the button yet. I haven't committed yet. It's for JSA 8.
Oh yeah.
All Wildcats.
Shoot me a message.
Okay.
Hell yeah. Make sure you guys check out Gavin at any con that you're at. Harris says, hopefully I'll see Gavin at Denver next year.
I would love to do Denver. They've been on my radar. It's just it's tough because I want to go to new places as often as possible, but there's also certain places that I have to do every year. They're just like Charlotte and New York and maybe even Baltimore are worthwhile shows to do every year. But also I don't want to do 14 shows again next year. It's I did 12 shows, not including Louisiana. Like I was in New Orleans twice. But that's home, so it's not the same. As far as Texas, I used to go to Dallas every year for Free Comic Book Day. I will definitely eventually make my way back out to Houston or Dallas. I've got friends out there. It's one state over. It's not too big of a trip. So eventually I'll be back out there. But I do a lot of shows with these GalaxyCon guys, and they're doing newer things. But I don't know if we're going to be in Texas anytime soon. I think they're looking at doing more stuff in like they actually just announced a Wisconsin show, but I think it's way too short for me to jump in. But yeah, anyway, I'll probably be at your state eventually because I want to hit all 50.
Nice.
yeah.
Cool.
I barely ever got to travel ever before doing cons, so it's kind of like a good chance for me to get to go. I used to have a big map on my wall with pins in it for cities I've been to and cities I've lived in, all different color coded and stuff. But then I ended up needing the wall space. But yeah, my travel comics has opened up my whole world. Like, I mean, I've got to go to Canada because of comics. Speaking of Ron Mars has been to freaking Dubai, India, the South America. He's been all over the place because of comic conventions.
For those
Iceland,
cons, yeah.
yeah. So I'm gonna try and hit up all 50 states if I can.
And go to GavinGidry.com. Follow Gavin on X. Those are the places where you can keep up with his schedule. Whenever he's moving on the road, he will always update those spaces. So follow him. Follow him. We need to support the artists and writers in this community. I'm not like you have your favorites. That's awesome. But Gavin gives his time here. We show love and support right back.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course, of course. We will be back. You don't have to wait until next Saturday to see us again. We're going to be hitting you guys on Monday with Pals Previews at 1 p.m. Tuesday, right here, 6 p.m., Robert Kirkman and David fucking Finch. Come on. Be here. It's going to be huge. Show up, 6 p.m., groundswell of support. We really need it for this interview. Skybound is going to be watching. All eyes on us Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, Thursday at 8 for Pals Polls, and then we're right back here for the third part of the Ultimate Universe deep dive. Thank